Love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Born in 1892 to a socially prominent family, she was the consummate athlete, proficient in golf, tennis, marksmanship, swimming, and car racing. Many considered her the greatest horsewoman of the century. She was a pioneer in the field of golf course development with 3 world-class courses on her resume: the Women's National Golf and Tennis Club, Cypress Point, and Pasatiempo. Working for SFB Morse of Pebble Beach fame led to her second golf course development, which many consider to be the greatest golf course in the world, Cypress Point, where she developed a lifelong friendship and professional relationship with famed architect Alistair McKenzie. Pasatiempo in Santa Cruz was her third development, where she hosted the likes of Bobby Jones, Will Rogers, Babe Saharias, and more. Today, her place is alongside many others in the World Golf Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Marian Hollins, a visionary golf course architect and pioneer of the game. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports. Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sactown Sports.
Yes. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And oh my goodness, it finally happened. Russell Westbrook is a king. Say it with me. Russell Westbrook is a king. Shams broke the news, about 30-ish minutes ago, maybe more than that, about an hour ago. And as you can probably assume, we are all over this. I feel like Shams, the way I've been on my phone all morning long, trying to make sure that we are giving you the best experience and all the information that you need to feel better about the signing, to feel worse about the signing, however you want to feel about the signing. We are building a full lineup for you today and the rest of the week to figure out how to assess what the Kings have decided to do, bring in another future Hall of Famer, Russell Westbrook. Domantas Sabonis is a future Hall of Famer. Obviously, DeMar DeRozan is a future Hall of Famer, and now you have Russell Westbrook. And I've gone complete 180 on this. Kyle was trying to call me out during the transition between the morning show and this show. Kyle was trying to call me out. Look, number one, I did not want to lose Devin Carter for Russell Westbrook. That's number one, okay? And they're not going to do that. By the way, they picked up Devin Carter's third-year option. It's really rare when a team does not pick up the third-year option for a first-rounder. It'd have to be a rough situation. So, Devin Carter's still here. You want to bring in Russell Westbrook? We were going to talk about Dariq Whitehead, who got released or waived from the Nets. He goes about 6'6", 6'7", sharp-shooting wing. A couple other guys that they could have went after. But again, you watched that first game of the preseason, and I said it. You watched that first game of the preseason, and you started to realize and started to understand what Scott Perry was talking about, and why there was a feeling in that building and a need in their minds for Russell Westbrook. Somebody that said, we're not going to let the Portland Trailblazers shoot 54%. It's not even about the actual measurables. I know he's not 6'8". I know he's not a wing. I know he probably can't guard fours. I understand all that. But Scott Perry's thought process was, well, we're probably not going to find somebody like that on the streets anyway. This is somebody we were already interested in. We saw in that first game. I know the second game, the broadcast was a little wonky. By the way, they have another preseason game tonight, and we'll get to that as well. But Malik Monk didn't play a ton of point guard that first game. Keon was bringing it up when Malik and Keon were both on the floor. It was a lot of Dennis Schroeder. So we started to understand what was going on. And if there's one person that's not going to let his side, I get it, he's not going to guard big fours, But if there's one person that is going to be up to the task, it's going to be Russell Westbrook. How many times, I've been here for how long now? How much time, how many segments have we cooked talking about dogs? Talking about this team needs a dog. How many segments? I remember vividly having a conversation saying, well, maybe the team doesn't need a dog. Maybe the coach can be the dog. I said that. I'll never forget I had to come up with a segment like that because of what the Sacramento Kings were not bringing to the table. We don't have to talk about that anymore. JaVale McGee, all those years ago, sat right here, right in this studio, next to me, but it wasn't me because it was the Drive guys. And he said, these guys are laughing after losing to the Spurs, and that's before the Spurs were supposed to be good. JaVale said they don't have it. They do not have it. And Russell Westbrook does. Is he great at shooting the three ball? No. Is he a 6'8", 4 and somebody that can guard every position? No. But you probably weren't going to find that off the scrap heap anyway. So this gives the Kings another point guard. It gives them another look. He can play the two. I know he's not a great shooter, but he can generate shots. And when Keegan Murray comes back, we'll see how this thing looks. Now, we will talk about the other side of it. Allen, that's playing time that could have went to Keon. Allen, that's playing time that could have went to Devin Carter. Allen, that's playing time that could have went to Nick Clifford. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay? Now, how this thing all balances out, we will know as it goes through. I don't know how many minutes Russell Westbrook's going to play. It was looking a little bit different before the Keegan Murray injury, even though Keegan obviously is going to play that 4 and Russell Westbrook is not. But let's let it all play out. I am not against bringing a dog onto the team. Now, do I want it to be at the expense of the young guys and their ability to get more time and to develop? No, not necessarily. But if they're winning games, and I know Carmichael Dave and others don't think that'll be the case, but if they're winning games, that's a different conversation. Let's just put a pin in it. Be happy that those Westbrook jerseys are going to be real and are probably selling right now. And we can fast forward to if they're 2-12 and Keon ain't getting time and Devin Carter is rotting on the bench and having to go back to G League at 23 years old, we can have that conversation then. But right now, we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't. So I'm not going to be, and I've said this before, I'm not going to be, and I know I did it, and I apologize for it because I like to react to what happens and not necessarily react before it happens. But look, I looked at that 20-game stretch, and it was rough. But I'm not going to be pessimistic before anything even happens. There's time for that. There will be time for that. If they stink and Keon ain't getting time and everybody and Russell Westbrook is not only clogging the lanes, but clogging the pipeline for the young guards, we can have that conversation. But we don't know how he's going to be used. He might be even more of a 3. We don't know anything right now. If he's, clogging the lane on Nick Clifford, who's also already 23, we do not know. So we have time. We have time to react to all of that. So it's not about Allen is being too optimistic or pessimistic. I'm optimistic because it's nice to see a future Hall of Famer in Sacramento. You could be walking down the street and see Russell Westbrook in Sacramento. This is one of the biggest brands in basketball. And DeMar DeRozan, he's probably a tier below that, but DeMar DeRozan's there too. Will it translate to wins? I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. I'm not going to go back and forth with my guy, Carmichael Dave, about whether it's going to be 3 to 5 games. He said, how many wins do you think it'll add? I said about 3 to 5. In my mind, just because of Russell Westbrook and what he does. Now, are there games where he might take away from that? Probably. We just saw it in Denver. But I'm not going to do that today. Life is too tough, man. I got the little one. Half the time she don't want to sleep when it's time to sleep. I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo a future Hall of Famer coming to the Kings. Now, like I said, if they're 2-12, or if they're 1-4, then things will change a little bit. It's not about being flip-floppy. It's about reacting to results. We don't have results yet. What we do know is that Russell Westbrook ain't backing down to nobody. And what we do know is that people come up in this building, 2 gold and 1, and they have career years. They have career nights. Brandon Ingram looked like Steph Curry. Are you kidding me? Somebody got to do something about that. We thought it was going to be Jay Crowder. He had a back brace on all season long. So somebody has to do that. And Russell Westbrook will be that person. And if nothing else, as long as he's not taking away too many minutes from the young guys, he can infuse some of that. Remember how all y'all were hitting us up on the Allen Stiles Show, 916-339-1140? We're still giving away a night to the Kempton Sawyer, as well as 2 tickets to see Russell Westbrook's former team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, take on the Kings November 7th, and $200 to Revival. We will give you that secret keyword at 12 o'clock. So we still got that going on for you. But how many times have we sat there and people called this number, 916-339-1140? By the way, we got a ton of guests today, but the phone lines are open all day. I will get to you. You want to talk Westbrook? The floor is yours. You think I'm crazy? You're on Carmichael Dave's side? Cool. You agree with me? Cool. Let's talk. That's what this is all about. This is what I love. You can tell I got a twinkle in my eye and a song in my heart. But how many people called, right? And when they called, oh my goodness, I think that Harrison Barnes is rubbing off on Keegan Murray. Even, you could, dare I say, De'Aaron Fox, right? Just to kind of laid back, we're just chilling. I'll get my shot when it's time. La-da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't want to say lackadaisical because I wouldn't disrespect Harrison Barnes like that, but I would just say chill, laid back, right? How many people called this phone line or texted in saying, I'm afraid that Harrison Barnes is wearing off on Keegan Murray? Well, how about this? How about Russell Westbrook wearing off on Keon Ellis? How about Russell Westbrook wearing off on Devin Carter? How about Russell Westbrook wearing off on Nick Clifford? How about that? Because that's something I would invite any day of the week. The plus minus for this season, the win total was 34 and a half games. What are we talking about not being excited today? I don't care if it just moves up. We can check, Kyle. We can check Vegas in about 10 minutes. I'm sure it's already refreshed. It might only go up to 36 and a half. But dang it, that's 2 more wins.
I imagine they're inflating it for suckers.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. And you might be headed to Reno right now. Hold on now. Hold on now. Don't get too much dip on the chip. Now, on the other side of this, I think it's perfect. Because if you want to agree with Carmichael Dave, and you don't think it's going to change things too much, that's why we run the Tankathon, the NBA draft every single day. I still want Darren Peterson. I still want AJ DeBanza. I still want the good Boozer twin. I still want that. So either way, and I get it, they could find themselves in that middle ground where they just kind of screw themselves over. Maybe that's the case. We'll have to see. According to Carmichael Dave and others, it ain't going to help that much anyway, so it doesn't change anything. But it'll give us moments. I know dang well it'll give us moments. And you get somebody in the building that is going to build that culture for the young guys, the Nick Cliffords, the Keons, dudes like that, the Maxime Reynaud's, all of those guys, the Isaac Jones, all of them. And even some of the current, the current vets, Domantas Sabonis. I know Malik is a dog, don't get me wrong. Guys like that. I know when on the surface, it's another guard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy. I understand that. But I'm not going to sit here on these airwaves when life is tough. You got to pay your dang bills, right? Kids don't be acting right. Your dog pooping on the floor. All this stuff is going on, and I'm going to sit here and downplay Russell Westbrook coming to the Sacramento Kings. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I can't do it, and I'm not going to do it. Can't do it, won't do it. Okay? By the way, this is our lineup, and we have more on the lineup as well. I'm continuing to text people. My phone is warm. I need to let it cool off for a second. But Brett Siegel's going to join us at 11:30, give his take on everything that went down and if this could just be the beginning. Brendan Nunez is going to come straight from shoot-around to stop by and talk to us around 12:30. Ryan Blackburn, who covers the Nuggets for Mile High Sports, he's going to be with us at 1 o'clock. And Ryan is going to tell us some of the peaks and valleys of having Russell Westbrook on your team and what to expect. So I'm really excited to talk to Ryan because he was right there and saw the Russell Westbrook experience. We have and by the way, it's tough for the local media right now because they have to go to shoot around and they're running around because there's a game tonight. But Sean Cunningham, it was, quote, probably.
Here's Sean Cunningham. Who? I don't know.
It was, quote, probably. So we will probably have Sean Cunningham on the show. It just depends on what time he's trying to confirm that for me. So it's fully loaded like a baked potato. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Okay, so that's the next 4 hours in a nutshell. We still have other things to discuss. What teams could be interested in Zach LaVine if they extend him out. The Devin Carter situation, what does that mean? Does that mean that the Kings maybe like Devin Carter than a lot of us thought? He's sitting there on the third team in these rotations during practice. We didn't think that was a great look, but maybe picking up this option, maybe we've been overstating or undervaluing how the Kings do feel about one Devin Carter. So if you're just now joining us because you are in the middle of a 30-minute commercial-free segment, which we do at the top of every hour here on your home of Russell Westbrook's Sacramento Kings. Westbrook and the Kings maintained communication all offseason as the 2017 NBA MVP, remained patient in free agency, and now lands a deal for his 18th season. Westbrook has bonds with, and you got to pay attention to this one, because this is the stuff that I don't think was very obvious when all these conversations were going on. Westbrook has bonds with Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. History alongside Dennis Schroeder in the backcourt, and with assistant GM BJ Armstrong on the agency side. A shared respect for GM Scott Perry and coach Doug Christie. Westbrook is expected to officially join the team later this week, sources said. So, Kyle, I just went on a heck of a rant. Let's get you in here, and I want to hear your initial thoughts. I'm not trying to sway anybody any certain way. You know I don't police fandom here, and if that's how Dave wants to fan, he can do that. He is well in his right. I'm still the new kid on the block out here, right? Not as new. I got a Sacramento native in my house now with my 1-month-old kiddo. So I've been here for a while now, but Dave has been doing this for a very long time. He has been fanning for the Sacramento Kings since he was a wee young pup. So Dave can react however he wants to react. The way I see it, as I've laid out over the last 15 minutes here, is today is not, you know when people say that to you, hey, not the time, right? That's how I feel. I'm not telling anybody else, right? But I don't feel like it's the time to talk about the negative aspects of the Westbrook stuff. People can call in and we can talk about it, and we're not going to just gush over it for the next 4 hours, but at least to start the show is not the time.
You're playing the game here, the professional broadcaster game of like.
No, there's no game. There's no game.
This is exciting.
There's no game.
Yeah, I guess my just kind of thought is like, I'm relieved that what I was seeing all summer kind of ended up coming true, which is they'll sign Russell Westbrook not because it makes basketball sense, because it makes rotation sense, because it pushes the team in either direction. They will sign Russell Westbrook because they want to sign Russell Westbrook. And that is ultimately what they decided to do. Even when your starting four goes down, even when Russell Westbrook is doing, media stuff for All-Star and is on a yacht and everything like that. Like, even while all that's happening, the fundamental reason why they signed Russell Westbrook is because they wanted to sign Russell Westbrook. And they did. Whether it made basketball sense or not, they were going to bring him in because that's what they wanted to do. It's what they wanted to do when free agency opened, and it took some time for the Kuminga thing to get sorted out, but they waived Terrence Davis and created that roster spot to sign Russell Westbrook, just like we thought they were going to do. Not because it made perfect basketball sense, because that's just what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we've talked about this before when it comes to and this isn't me talking, this is what they've told us when it comes to the culture thing. They felt this whole time a couple of things. Number one, they did feel like they needed a backup point guard, right? Which I talked to Malik Monk. You can go check out that interview on YouTube. One of the best interviews that I feel like I've had since being out here, because Malik and myself, we've talked a couple different times. But I thought the Malik Monk can't be a point guard thing was overstated. It was the idea of Malik being the number one point guard, right? If there's a situation, y'all know I love baseball, when it comes to, hey, in a pinch or when Willie Adames needs a day off, he can't really, but can Casey Schmidt play shortstop when Willie Adames needs a day off? Can your second baseman or third baseman play shortstop for a game, right? They're not your starting shortstop, but they can play it for a game. Aaron Judge is not a center fielder, and we saw that in the World Series, but he can play center field for a couple games,
when
right?
Trent Grisham's hurt.
Exactly. Malik Monk, he can be your backup point guard. He can be in the point guard rotation. They did not feel so. They did not feel the same way. And it was evident to me in that Portland game, and I know it was just in the first game against the Raptors, when Malik didn't handle the ball that much. So they don't necessarily want to see, it doesn't feel like they wanted to see Malik at the point guard position that much. That's their prerogative, right? Whether that's from Doug or Scott Perry, BJ Armstrong, that's their prerogative. So with that being said, they felt like they needed a backup point guard. Now, here's the other thing that you can compartmentalize. You're Scott Perry, you're coming into a position where I think we need a backup point guard. We also have a ton of guards on the team, and I didn't put these guards on the team. Now, we did draft Nick Clifford, but I didn't put these guards on the team. So I could either go get a need that I believe we need to address, or I cannot address it because I don't want it to look bad because we already have a bunch of guards, a bunch of combo guards that I did not add to this roster. Scott Perry decided, and when you add in the culture piece of this, and you might get tired of hearing that word, Scott Perry decided that the former was more important than the latter, which was the perceived roster construction from the national standpoint. Why do the Kings, and not even national, the local, why do the Kings have so many guards? He felt like it was still more new, and I'm obviously paraphrasing. We spoke to Scott Perry on Media Day as well, and you can talk, and you can check that out on YouTube and on the Sactown Sports app. But he did not tell me this, but how I'm understanding this is he thought it was more important to get a backup point guard and add to the culture versus either do nothing or find some random Jalen Daniels type of dude off the scrap heap. That's what he felt. Now, I'm taking a look at some of these texts on the text line 916-339-1140, and I love it because they're all negative, right? Or majority of them are negative, which is cool.
Or
right?
people asking what jersey he's gonna wear.
Right, which is cool. Like I said, I'm not gonna police anybody and tell you how to fan. My question is this: knowing that there probably wasn't that much out there available, right? And this changes now with the Keegan thing. Did you want them to find someone else, or did you want them to just do nothing? Because I think the better argument would have been to do nothing. As much as I am talking about Westbrook and bringing in the dog and a backup point guard, I was completely okay doing nothing. I don't think the Kings needed to bring him in. They decided to do that, so now I'm going to sit there and say, okay, well, you brought in a future Hall of Famer, so let's see what happens. But I'm more so in the camp of, well, let's just see what happens, and if nothing else, you're letting these guys, the young guys, get time. That's why I will reserve my feeling. The conversation I'm having is bringing Russell Westbrook to the team. If he's taking legitimate minutes away from a Nick Clifford, and then let's talk about who you truly don't want him to take minutes away from. Because I think off the top of my head, there's probably two guys, right? And everybody knows Malik Monk is my favorite player on the team. If you've listened to this show at all, you know that. But
I'm a pizza guy.
Thank you very much, Malik. But the only two guys I would actually be upset about Russell Westbrook taking playing time from, there's one that's honorable mention, but the only two guys I would actually be upset about would be Neat Clifford and Keon Ellis. And the honorable mention would be Devin Carter, right? And that's, I'm not going to sit here and say, and don't do that. If you didn't want Russell Westbrook on the squad and he's taking minutes away from Devin Carter, now all of a sudden you're the biggest Devin Carter guy because you didn't want Russell Westbrook on the team.
Also, Devin Carter probably wasn't going to play minutes either way.
Right. We counted the 10. They wanted a 10-man rotation. Devin Carter was not in that. What's interesting, Kyle, if we go back to that 10-man rotation, now on the other side, let's discuss who could find themselves on the outside looking in. 4 hours with you. Let's get through this together. 916-339-1140. TC, I see you. Jacob, I see you. Do not move. You kick off the next segment in about 3 minutes. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-838-6767. That's 800-838-6767.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I'm opening my own coffee shop.
I smell a caffeinated catastrophe.
And I needed menu boards and banners printed.
What you really needed was a reality check.
Staples really came through. They printed menus and signs, even flyers in time for my grand opening.
And that's when the other shoe dropped.
Not quite. I got $125 off my custom print order.
Cha-ching! For your business printing, Staples.
That was easy.
Now save up to $125 on custom print orders. Valid in-store and online until 11/1. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
What's happening? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram and Woodland. What's happening for the Driving to Fall event?
It's not just leaves falling at Hoblet. Prices are falling like never before. And right now, save up to $13,000 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 2500 heavy duty of your dreams.
Really? Of my dreams?
Yeah, you won't find a better selection of Ram heavy duties at prices like these anywhere in California. We have hundreds of new Rams available and more arriving every day. There's a reason we are consistently one of the top Ram dealers, not just in California, but in all of the United States.
Come see the Hoblet difference and get that big city selection and savings with the small town feel. Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
13,000 total net savings on select new 2025 Ram 2500 Laramie after 4,500 factor rebates and 8,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include 2,000 select inventory bonus cash, 500 on the job upfit, must show eligible upfit, 5% savings. See dealer for details.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Sacramento helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000 or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sactown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
916-339-1140. a lot of people are all over the text line. And look, man, I get it. I'm choosing to approach it this way. And here's the thing, though. I guess my confusion is why everyone is so upset. If you are upset, not everybody's upset, but why you're so upset for a team that was already slated to win 34 and a half games, right? And there's somebody I was speaking with on the text line, and they said, somebody said, I hate this organization, but somebody else said, that's it. Now the Kings are going to win 12 games, right? They said, Westbrook, that's it. I'm done. It's from the 916. Westbrook, that's it. I'm done. Here comes a 12-win team. Let's say you're right. Is that even a bad thing, though? Right? I mean, at least they would be choosing a direction. I think the bigger fear, which is what I'm confused about with people that are upset. Are you upset because the Kings are going to be a little bit better? Because if they're going to be worse, that's not a bad thing. The Kings weren't doing anything this season anyway. So you might, yes, if you're going to sacrifice some of the young guys' minutes, I don't like that. But all of you that think the Kings are going to be worse than 34 and a half games, isn't that good? The 2026 draft class is loaded. The bottom line, and what we've talked about on this show time and time again, is picking a lane. Now, this wouldn't be them purposely picking a lane and purposely tanking, right? But if that ends up being the case and they end up stinking, as so many people think that's going to be and be the case, there's actually nothing wrong with that. I don't know why the better argument should be, Allen, I think Westbrook's going to make them just good enough to fall out of that initial lottery and get a 13th pick again. But y'all aren't even upset about that. Y'all are saying that they're going to be worse. That's not a bad thing.
Well, I don't want to just put it all in a box, because it's not just about this season if you're doing the rebuild thing, right? This is about multiple years of stacking young talent. So maybe you could think, oh, they're going to lose more games with Westbrook, but you're also potentially going to lose more games and not develop your young talent at the same time.
And no. And I would not want to see that. The other thing is this, right? I have had a couple conversations with Scott Perry, and I do personally believe that if this thing looks a mess, this is not going to go all season long, right? If it's as much as a mess as a lot of people think it will be, which a lot of people thought it was going to be that regardless, then when we get to the trade deadline, moves will be made. That's it. I mean, that's it. To me, this is all just a means. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm in a good mood today because it's all just a means to an end, right? I don't have high expectations for the Kings. So signing Westbrook, it's either going to be a smashing success, right? Or here's the other part of it. If they're 9-10, this has been the ultimate question. If they're 9-10, stuck where they've been, and the trade deadline is coming up, and this is what we don't know yet. Will Scott Perry be able to say, look, Mr. Vivek, I don't think we should continue to mess around. I think we do a fire sale. We give the young guys the rest of the season, make sure we put ourselves in a good spot for that draft and go from there. But I don't think the Kings fans, the good people of Sacramento, the 916, where else, Kyle? The 916,
209,
the 209,
530,
the 530. What's that new number?
I don't care.
The new number, the new Sacramento number. Yeah, the new Sacramento number. I don't think that you will have to go through the whole season. You might have to get to January, but I don't think you'll have to go through the whole season.
Well, I think that's the point, though, right? Is like, before they brought in Westbrook, they were trying to move a guard to bring in a forward.
Yes.
Whether that was Kuminga for Monk, Kuminga for Devin Carter and Dario Saric, whatever you want to point to, they were trying, which makes me think that this roster construction is not what the roster construction will be by the end of the season, one way or another, right? Mm-hmm. Whether they're good, whether they're bad, they're going to switch this up at some point. At least you can say you've got Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook, who will be your point guards probably the entire season, unless they swing a move for Dennis Schroeder as part of a larger deal. but I just think the team is kind of what it is. They just did this because they wanted a backup point guard who could slide in as a starting point guard if Dennis Schroeder is out.
Yeah. You know, Beeman makes a good point on the SAC chat. Beeman says, this is dollars make sense. Beeman says, it's ridiculous to think Doug will sit $100+ million on the bench to develop rookies. These vets are going to get crazy minutes. Hopefully we're bad regardless. And I think that's what it is. You bring in Russell Westbrook. If they're convinced that Russell Westbrook is going to help, cool. Let's give it the old college try for the first 3 months of the season. It's very simple to me, right? Unless they get stuck. Now, y'all can call in and don't cuss me out because then we'll have to drop you. But y'all can call in and PG-wise cuss me out if in January they're the 9-10 and they stand pat and they say we're going for it. But I believe this team, they brought in Russell Westbrook. They think he'll help. He'll help add to the culture. They're going to give it the old college try till January. And if they stink, they'll blow it up. I just think it's that simple.
I think that's fair, but I also think they are going to try and win with veterans.
Yeah, no, that's going to be the beginning of the season.
It's tough, though. And again, the Keegan injury changes the equation a bit because who they're going to have playing the 4 is going to wildly fluctuate, right? There could be a scenario this year. I don't know if it will happen that often, but there's a scenario where we could see Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and potentially Malik Monk, Nick Clifford, or Keon Ellis, depending on how they do defense, all playing on the floor at the exact same time.
Yeah.
That totally could happen because they just have such an absence at the 4 position right now. And on offense, you don't have to worry about it. It's positionless basketball. Stick Westbrook in the corner and shoot threes.
Well,
that's what the Thunder did.
You can sit in the corner, but you don't got to shoot them. Look, I wanted the Kings to go get, they weren't going to say uncle, I wanted them to go get John Collins. I wanted them to go get PJ Washington. They didn't do it. So now we're just reacting based on what it is. And it's not really that different than what other teams do. We're gonna see how all these plenty of teams have fire sales at the deadline because it didn't work out. Let's get to these phone calls. 916-339-1140. Let's start out with the one, the only Jacob, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Jacob? What you got for us?
What's going on, Alan? How you doing today?
Man, Jacob, it's a beautiful day. The rain, it ain't raining again, Jacob. So I'm enjoying it. How you doing?
I'm doing good, doing well. Trying to take in all this news, and I got a few points I want to make.
Okay.
I think that there's a common ground between the idea that Carmichael Dave had before you got on and what you have, because I don't think that this move specifically moves the Kings to 3 to 5 more wins, but I think this move really is good for a younger guy like Nick Clifford to sit back, develop, and learn from a Hall of Famer like Westbrook. And people are acting, from what I see at least, that Westbrook's on some crazy contract. It's being reported by Sam Amick that it's a league minimum. I mean, you're getting a league minimum guy to basically come in and mentor Keon Ellis and Nick Clifford. And the other point I want to make, though, is it is interesting because it almost feels like you could see the writing on the wall with the front office of Devin Carter, what they think of him. They don't trade Malik Monk. They signed Dennis Schroeder. They draft another guard, and then they bring in Westbrook. I think, and to your point of what you were saying earlier about this probably won't happen through the whole year, I think the writing is on the wall today with Devin Carter.
Yeah, and that's a good call, Jacob. Appreciate it. Well, the thing is, they did pick up his option. That doesn't mean that they can't trade him sometime in the future. We're just going to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, just in layman's terms, you always pick up the third-year option because even if the player isn't good, he's still going to cost less money than Russell Westbrook. He's going to cost this year. So it's a cheap roster spot when you have 4 players making $140 million.
Yeah, and we can have the conversation. Was this, because I know people like to talk about it based on what came out from The Athletic earlier this summer, or maybe it was the late spring, but was this something that Scott Perry in the front office wanted to do? Was this more so pushed by Mr. Vivek? We don't know. We don't know yet, right? And we might not know until the time is over for Russell Westbrook. But yeah, my thought process is this team was probably going nowhere fast. There is a path for the 8 seed. A lot of stuff would have to happen. Number one, they'd have to play out of their minds, but they're going to reassess this in January and make the right call. I just don't think they'll belabor the point anymore. That doesn't mean Domantas Sabonis might go, but your DeMar DeRozans, and we talked to Keith Smith of Spa Track yesterday, if you want to go check that out on YouTube and on the Sactown Sports app. And we talked to him about Domantas Sabonis' value, Zach LaVine's value, if he decides to opt out and a team wants to extend him the same way Kyrie did. DeMar DeRozan, his contract isn't guaranteed next season. So there are some paths that they could take. Let's get to Pool Guy Mark, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Pool Guy Mark? What you got for us?
Hey, how's it going? Well, I mean, I like your scenario. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I guess for me, if these were like younger players like Keon, Carter, I mean, even Neek, I mean, they're not like 19, 20-year-olds. They're already, they kind of draft. Well, I know he didn't draft all these players, but they're kind of like drafted older so they can play now. And I mean, it's like, to me, I'm like, well, it's a wasted season. I mean, if it doesn't, blow it up and draft. I mean, that's kind of my worst fear. I mean, once if this is like, they're sniffing that 9 seed. I mean, it seems to me that this organization, they kind of see that as success. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's a problem, Pool Guy Mark. I do not know if they're in that 9-10 spot. I don't know if they're going to say we're going to power forward or if they will say we don't want it. We don't want to mess up our position for a really good draft class. That's what I'm more interested in that than Russell Westbrook. TC, to close out the segment. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
Man, I'm fired up, man. I just don't understand why everybody is angry as far as Kings fans. We talking about we building a culture and a dog mentality, right? Mm-hmm. And the grittiness and taking no BS from nobody. Well, that's what Russ brings, bro. So that's what that signing was. This ain't got nothing to do with Beck, Perry, his homie. It could be, bro, but this was simply establishing a culture. What Scott Perry and Doug Christie talk about on every interview, Kings fans, we have to understand that. We always talking about a culture. What's the culture? What's the Kings' identity? Well, we're developing it. What Christie, and that's what Westbrook was brought in to do.
Yeah, thanks for the call, TC. Great stuff. As always, on the other side, we keep the conversation going. More of your calls, more of your texts, more of your Sac Chat. So who exactly are the Kings bringing in? Let's go over what Russell Westbrook has done throughout his career. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Let's go. You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Sacramento Kings basketball is back. Be there for opening night at Golden One Center on Friday, October 24th, when the Kings take on the Utah Jazz at 7 p.m. Following opening night, the Kings will take on the LA Lakers on October 26th and then the Golden State Warriors on November 5th. Don't miss these marquee matchups and more great games coming to Golden One Center this season. Head to kings.com/tickets to secure your seat to be part of the action.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays are for football. That's why we're here to help you get your next DIY project done, even when the clock isn't on your side. Whether that's a new Filtrete filter or Bosch and Cobalt power tools, Lowe's has everything you need to feel like the MVP of DIY. So get it done and earn your Sunday. Shop now, in-store and online. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
Hey everyone, it's Kyle Draper here. If you're in the market for a new car, let me tell you about my experience with Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the moment I walked into their state-of-the-art showroom, I knew I was making the right choice. There was no pressure from the sales staff, and if I'm being honest, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV, and let me tell you why. First of all, the comfort. After a long day at work, I actually look forward to being in my car. It has several different massage settings, including my favorite, hot relaxing back. Plus, the seat heating and cooling features are perfect for the hot summer or those chilly mornings. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. They're just a short drive down I-5, or you can shop online anytime at mbfstockton.com. That's mbfstockton.com, and tell them Drape sent you.
When I was a kid, I remember my dad, a lineman, leaving in the middle of the night. Families were depending on him to get their power back on to keep them safe and warm. Watching him taught me that this work isn't just about wires and circuits. It's about people and the trust they place in us when the lights go out. That's why I started Maverick Electric Heating and Air, to carry on that same promise of showing up, doing it right, and protecting families when they need us most. Visit callamaverick.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here, talking to you about my good friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Now, they are upgrading their offerings to you to include plumbing, bringing that same expertise and experience into the plumbing space. They're no longer just heat and air. They're now your American Energy Home Pros. And you've heard me talk about them for years as your second opinion partner. Now you can still get a second opinion on any HVAC service or replacement, but now you can also get a second opinion on any of your plumbing services. And when you really think about it, how do we know how much it's supposed to cost? At the very least, you'll know you're in the ballpark, and I can all but guarantee you they'll beat the price. They'll come out for free. They'll give you a second opinion. And all you got to do is give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Stockton 99 Speedway, Saturday, October 18th. It's championship night. Late models, modified, sprint cars, and the insane trailer racing. Plus a huge fireworks show to light up the sky. Tickets start at just $20. Don't miss the season finale. Stockton99.com.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sactown Sports.
916-339-1140 is the number. It's also the number if you want that chance at that Kimpton Sawyer free night stay. Also, tickets to see Russell Westbrook's former team take on your team, the Sacramento Kings, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder November 7th, and $200 to Revival. So we're going to give you that secret number at 12 o'clock. All right. So you're going to text in 916-339-1140, and we will have that secret code, that secret number for you. You text that in, and your name gets thrown, your number gets thrown in a pile with a chance to win. So that's coming up. Russell Westbrook last season played 75 games, much to the chagrin of everyone in the Denver Nuggets organization. It feels like 13.3 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 6.1 assists per game. All right. So that's what he did with the Nuggets. There's a specific note that I can't wait to share with you guys. And Russell Westbrook shot 44.9% from the floor. He shot 32.3% from three, 66% from the free throw, which that might be the worst. That might be the worst stat of them. Everybody makes fun of his 3-point shooting, but
hey, on the Kings, that'll fit right in.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Now, He took basically 4 threes a game. Russell Westbrook did 3.9 at 32, because everybody thinks Russell Westbrook is a brick. 32.3% from 3. Now, a down year for the guy I'm about to say, and an up year for Russell Westbrook, who sits at 30.5% from 3. But last season, he shot it at 32.3. We know that older players focus on their shooting more as their athleticism starts to leave them a bit. Kyle, there's a player on the Kings who shot how many threes? Let's see. Okay, it was more, twice as much, 6.6 threes a game. And Kyle, he shot it at 32.5% from 3. Do you know who that person was?
I think it is.
That is incorrect.
It's not DeMar DeRozan.
It is not. I don't think DeMar took 6 a game.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Is it? Well, by volume, it can only be one other player. Is that De'Aaron Fox?
That is incorrect as well.
6.6 threes per game?
Think about it. High volume because of what happened with De'Aaron Fox.
Is it Malik?
Malik Monk.
Really?
Malik Monk.
I'm surprised he took that many threes.
Malik Monk, 6.6 threes a game in 2024-2025. In 2023-2024, he took 5.9. And his career, he's at 35%. So it was a down year. Russell Westbrook, it was, like I said, an up year. He shoots it at 30% for his career. But last season, he shot it at 32.3, taking, like I said, 3.9. So 4 threes a game. Just for fun, Kyle, you weren't way off. They're all in the same vicinity. 32.3 for Russell Westbrook, 32.5 for Malik Monk, and 32.8 for DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, that sounds about right. How many did he take per game?
He took 3.3 threes a game, so less than Russell Westbrook. He shot it at 32.8.
Yeah, but if we count shots where his foot was on the line, he probably was above
Oh, my goodness.
Russell Westbrook.
Oh, that would change everything. That would change absolutely everything. So,
well, it is an interesting point, though, because why would Russell Westbrook take so many three-pointers? Isn't he, by volume, the worst three-point shooter in NBA history?
Yeah.
He's kind of figured it out.
That's right.
And not just on the corner threes is the bigger thing. He's figured out how to shoot the corner three. Don't want him shooting from the top of the key, but it's fine if he shoots on the corner.
Yeah,
three.
shortest 3 on the court, so that's kind of part of it. That's what he did last season for the Nuggies. The stats and the accolades for Russell Westbrook speaks for themselves. 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 2-time first team. And he was 5-time second team, 2-time third team. He's a 2-time scoring champion in 2015, 2017, a 3-time assist champion in 2018, 2019, and 2021. So that's what he brings to the table. Obviously, the only one in the 20s, and we're in 2025 now. That's that assist champion in 2021. Yeah, I think that's the other thing about fit. Again, now that I'm, coming a little bit back to reality, Russell Westbrook needs shooters around him. So he's got, there's Keon, but specifically, I mean, it might look better once Keegan comes back, because who is he spraying the ball out to right now? I think that's the biggest issue, right? On the court, you're not spraying it. Well, you could spray it to Sabonis, but you're not really spraying it to Sabonis. 40%, but he shoots it like a free throw. He's trying not to, but then when he does that, he does not hit the rim. You have DeMar DeRozan, who's at 32%, and he's barely at 32%. Malik Monk is a 35% career three-point shooter. He just had a down year because he was doing a lot of other things. So I wouldn't count Malik he's not, 35 isn't great, but it's also not bad, right? It's about average a little bit. It's right there. You don't mind it when he shoots, and he can get hot. That 35% means he can get hot, but he can get cold, right? So
league average is 36%.
There you go. So a shade under 36%. And that's so crazy because Malik felt like such a good shooter next to De'Aaron Fox. That's so nuts.
Well, that's kind of the thing with all these teams, right? You get better when you're playing alongside excellent players.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying De'Aaron couldn't shoot, though.
Yeah, I get it. But it also created more opportunity for Malik versus when Malik was playing alongside Levine and DeRozan and everyone's clogging the lane.
Well, there's a name that will, I don't know about benefit, but they can benefit from each other. Spraying it out to Zach LaVine, spraying it out to Keon Ellis. spraying it out. I think Nick Clifford can shoot. We don't know. He hasn't played a season yet, so I'm not going to call Nick a shooter or non-shooter. I know he shot it well at Colorado State. So there are a couple guys that Westbrook will be able to spray it out to. But, yeah, I do wish that they had maybe one other guy. Like I said, once Keegan comes back, this will probably look a little bit better than it will right now. Also, the Dennis Schroeder, the starting point guard, 30. Is he another 32%?
He's got to be around there. I think it's 30.
He might be 34.
I think it's 34 maybe, but still very funny that they're all kind of around that territory. Also, how funny is it that for God knows how many years Dennis Schroeder was Russell Westbrook's backup, and now Dennis Schroeder is starting and Russell Westbrook is his backup.
Yeah. When you play long enough, you see a little bit of everything. So, yeah, that is the current situation. Russell Westbrook, if you're just now joining us, Russell Westbrook is a Sacramento King. There will be Russell Westbrook jerseys. Will you be someone that buys one of them? Let's talk about the contract situation for the Kings now that Russell Westbrook is coming to Sacramento and what that means for some of the other question marks, Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis. The Kings will do everything. You know that meme out there? Do something or draw 20. It's that Uno meme. Sign Keegan Murray to an extension or draw 20. That's the Sacramento Kings. They will do anything besides signing Keegan Murray to an extension. 11 o'clock hour coming up. More of your calls, texts, and Sac Chat. Down south, Sactown Sports.
Download the Sactown Sports app.
Sacramento sports in your pocket. This is Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121.
Sacramento. Buckle up. Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet is dropping one day of insane DeWalt deals on October 18th. Bare tools, batteries, and kits will be at insanely low prices. Spend $1,000 on DeWalt products and get $75 off your order instantly. Spend $100 and get a lotto scratcher with prizes up to $1,000 off your next order. That's one day only. October 18th at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Better tools, better prices.
Constipation with belly pain that keeps coming back and back and back. If your symptoms keep coming back, talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C. Linzess could help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Sacramento helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000, or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with primetime football. It's back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high-hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game, offering the best food, best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region and conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
KHDK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
On Sactown Sports.
One hour down, 3 to go, and Sam Amick will be on the morning show tomorrow, so you definitely don't want to miss that. But about 19 minutes ago, he says intel on the Kings' Russell Westbrook addition, including why they're confident he'll fit in well, who pushed for him to come, and why, after training camp, the need for a backup PG was deemed even more glaring. I'm trying to tell y'all. You watch this and you think, what is going on here? All right, I have the article right here. It is a minimum deal as well. The Sacramento Kings, from Sam Amick, Sacramento Kings are adding another accomplished veteran to their roster, with point guard Russell Westbrook agreeing on Wednesday to join the team that is hoping to contend for a playoff spot in the loaded Western Conference. Westbrook, who turns 37 in November, could have left that out, is expected to sign a 1-year minimum salary deal on Thursday, a team source told The Athletic. ESPN first reported the news. Westbrook, the 2017 MVP and 9-time All-Star who was with the Denver Nuggets last season, was long rumored to be headed to Sacramento as a backup point guard who could elevate their already experienced group. In the wake of the De'Aaron Fox trade with San Antonio last season and the offseason hiring of longtime NBA executive Scott Perry as the Kings general manager, Sacramento added veteran point guard Dennis Schroeder in free agency to unlock their wing talent. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Malik Monk, as well as their primary bigs. Okay, so they're calling Malik Monk a wing now, all right? Like, that's the first thing that you need to know.
Let's stop pretending he's a point guard.
Yeah.
Or secondary ball handler.
That's the first time I've ever heard Malik Monk referred to as a wing, as well as their primary bigs. Wow. DeMontis Sabonis and Keegan Murray is their big.
I mean, yeah, he is.
Sure. Several of the Kings veterans had been campaigning for Westbrook to be added since free agency began, per team sources. For Westbrook, this deal is another chance to continue a historic career, while often celebrated, has been nomadic in recent years. The Kings will be Westbrook's sixth team since being traded from Oklahoma City to Houston in 2019, as was the case in Denver last season and with the Los Angeles Lakers and Clippers before that. Westbrook has helped and hurt his teams in ways that sparked vigorous debate among fans, media, and people around the association. The discussion is no longer about his credentials, as he's not only the league's all-time triple-double king, but also on track to become the highest-scoring point guard of all time. The focus at this late stage of his career is on whether he can consistently maximize his impact in a supporting role after all those years of being at the center of the spotlight. For the Kings, who spent months contemplating bringing Westbrook in, the need for a more impactful backup point guard was deemed even more glaring after a training camp where none of their current players impressed enough to win the job. And while they're well aware that Westbrook comes with a level of intensity and edge that has been an issue for some teammates in the past, there is a great deal of confidence that his energy will be a net positive in part because of the relationships that existed long before this move. Westbrook played with Sabonis and Schroeder in Oklahoma City and grew up with DeMar DeRozan in the Los Angeles area. Westbrook boasts career averages of 21.2 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists per game and has averaged a triple-double 4 times. He averaged 13.3 points in 27.9 minutes per game last season for Denver while shooting 44.9% from the field, 32.3% from 3 in 75 games, his most games logged since the 2021-2022 season. So great stuff from Sam Amick there. You can go check that out at The Athletic, and it's connected, NYNewYorkTimes.com. There's one paragraph that I'm going back to, and it's the most obvious paragraph. There's the obvious situation ever. Here we go. For the Kings, who spent months contemplating bringing in Westbrook, the need for a more impactful backup point guard was deemed even more glaring after a training camp where none of the current players impressed enough to win the job. That's it. That's it, Kyle.
Malik Monk ain't got it. Devin Carter ain't got it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where I'm having a tough time with saying they didn't impress enough to win the job. Those were the same names they were trying to move this summer to bring in Westbrook before. Now they just concluded, okay, we're going to bring in Westbrook as the backup point guard and just make those guys full-time wings. Mm-hmm. I think they probably would have come to that conclusion with or without a training camp where they didn't prove enough to solidify the position. Maybe that's why they were waiting the few extra days, because I thought, and we talked about this before, the second Kuminga re-signs with the Warriors, that's when you sign Russell Westbrook. That was the thing that we thought was going to happen. So maybe they did give it a fair shot with 9 days of training camp before signing Russell Westbrook. But I just think this was always headed to signing Russell Westbrook, no matter whether Malik Monk or Devin Carter proved themselves as the backup point guard during training camp, because both of them are wings. They were just trying to have them be secondary ball handlers when, A, now you get Westbrook, and B, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are fine ball handlers, and it's an offense where Sabonis plays point center anyways.
I need the tape. I need to see how bad the backup point guard play was.
I guess Devin Carter.
It must have been. Look, they wanted Westbrook anyway, so it might not have been that bad. Maybe they were looking for an excuse and they got it, but it must have been ugly.
So you're saying that Devin Carter's game-winning shot with the quick release wasn't enough?
Well, that's shooting. That ain't point guard play, but it must have been rough.
I disagree. I think that they were already moving in this direction anyways. So maybe they didn't show enough, but what was it going to take? Them coming in and being like, wow, Malik has really changed his game over the summer. Malik was in the building. They knew what it was. They were going to do this no matter what.
Well, you know what? What I will say is I don't think weird is the right word, but I think the thing for me was how it was just all about the starting point guard and a primary point guard. The weird thing for me is that Malik Monk, I know once they moved on from Davion Mitchell, Malik Monk was the backup point guard, right? And maybe we could go back and say, well, Allen, you're talking about a team that missed the playoffs. Maybe this whole time they needed a backup point guard and it wasn't Malik. And I know personally, I got too caught up in the two-man game with Domantas Sabonis, thinking that meant Malik was a good point guard, and that just means Malik Monk is good in the two-man game. So maybe I got caught up in it the same way others got caught up in it. But, yeah, I felt like Malik was good enough to be a secondary point guard. And whether it's the way he plays point, whatever it is, they decided, and this also, honestly, this also goes back to why they were so open to move Malik Monk. Because if you have a guard, and they're calling him a wing now, but if you have a guard that you don't even want to be a backup point guard, or you don't even believe can do enough to be a backup point guard, and you have too many guards on the team, it's clear to me. Now, I don't know that that's how Malik is viewed throughout the league, but it's clear to me why a team like the Kings would then say, we got to move on from you, right? You do one thing.
Yeah, I understand that.
And he shoots it at 35% from three from his career. He's not a sniper.
To your point, though, about Malik Monk being the secondary ball handler, I think where it was different with the old roster construction was there's never, ever going to be a time where either De'Aaron Fox or Domantas Sabonis are not on the floor. Therefore, we always will have a ball handler on the floor, either Fox or Sabonis. Now that might still be the case, but with LaVine and DeRozan being your stars from the wing, it doesn't play itself as well to Sabonis running the point center because you're not getting the floor spacing that you need in order for the point center thing to be effective. The other thing with playing Westbrook and Jokic that teams ran into later in the year was we're just going to double team Jokic and say, Westbrook, if you hit the corner three, you hit the corner three. And that's part of why he was so good at the corner threes last year. But now with the Kings, it's like, we can double team Sabonis, and then what? You've got a shooter other than Westbrook on the floor. You've got DeRozan, who's 32%. You've got Malik, who's 32%. You've got Schroeder, who's 34%. LaVine and Keon are your great guys, but how often are you going to run a lineup of Westbrook, LaVine, Keon?
I mean, how many shots? That's the problem, right? Keon is he have probably not at 40, but at a shade under it.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's at 38, 39.
How many shots is Keon even getting a game? That's why I don't even know how to count Keon. How many shots is he getting a game?
Where's he getting the shots from, too? I don't
know.
Is he going to sit in the corner?
To be fair, I didn't know where Keon was getting the shots before Westbrook, in my opinion. I didn't know where he was getting the shots before.
But he was getting catch and shoot on the wing more often than not. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, is he going to play the wing? Is he going to play at the top of the key? It's like, this roster isn't as complimentary to Sabonis running the point center position. And because of that, it creates more question marks about who's going to be the primary ball handler. Now you don't have those questions because you've brought in Schroeder and Westbrook, and presumably you're always going to have one of those two on the floor at the same time. So at least you know you have a primary ball handler at all times.
Can I say something, though? And I feel like, I don't know if this is get off my lawn, or I don't know if this is we need to bring back swirlies, okay, and put kids in lockers. I'm just kidding. It's an inside joke. But how about this? He's on a minimum deal. He's going to be 37 November, right? Doug Christie is the guy who says, hey, I'm going to play the best that's ready to go. We got next man up. We're going to put the best five out there. Now, obviously, there's a caveat of, the DeMar DeRozans. And Zach LaVine is the part of the best five. He just maybe slightly overpaid, but he is part of the best five. How about this? How about Nick Clifford beat out a 37-year-old? How about Keon Ellis beat out a 37-year-old? I don't know that they will be. Now, this work is where it comes to, will Russell Westbrook play nice if he's not playing? And that's the part of it that we're going to talk to Ryan Blackburn about of Mile High Sports, how that could go. But there's a level of this that is iron sharpens iron. You bring in a dog. He might have to be that mentor. He's Dougie McBuckets to me. There's no promise of playing time to Russell Westbrook. If I'm Nick Clifford today, I put my shoes on. I put my shorts on in reverse order, shorts and then shoes. And I say, you know what? I looked up to Russell Westbrook. Nick Clifford might have been 8 years old when Russell was doing his thing. You know what? That's cool. He's going to have a nice time on the bench, and he's going to be able to help mentor me. Keon Ellis, I got some money to make. I'm glad Russell's there. He's going to teach me a lot. But that brother is going to, before he gets to the nursing home, he can kick it on the bench. How about that, though?
So here's where I feel like we have to have two different conversations with Westbrook and his role on the team. On the offensive end of the floor, it's very hard for somebody to make an argument that if they play Russell Westbrook in the correct role, which is Sometimes you're facilitating ball handling, passing, setting screens, getting mismatches, things like that, and having him shoot the corner three. There's very little argument that they will be worse on offense with Russell Westbrook. All summer we were talking about Valanciunas got to learn to shoot the corner three. Isaac Jones got to learn to shoot the corner three. Westbrook hit the corner three at 48% last year.
And they want to push the pace. They want to push the pace.
So on offense, I think this move makes sense because it will make them potentially better on offense if Westbrook is the guy going to the corner, which creates space for Sabonis, LaVine, DeRozan to operate. But on defense, to your point, he's directly taking playing time away from Nick Clifford, Devin Carter, and potentially Keon Ellis, guys who are considered defense-first guys right now.
Right.
So you're actively getting worse on defense for a team we all expect is going to stink on defense this year, and that's kind of where you have a hard time doing the pushing and pulling. Then you get into the other parts of it where it's like, Nick Clifford is 23, Devin Carter is 23, Keon Ellis is 25, versus Russell Westbrook is 37. You need defense and you need youth. And on the defensive end of the floor, Russell Westbrook directly takes away from those two things.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how many minutes he's going to be playing. Look, let's not forget what he did in Denver. That was not by design, and it caused a big rift, and it got people fired. Not because he was bad, but there was a push and pull between what that team needed for the future and what that team needed at the time. Russell Westbrook, he played 27.9 minutes on the Nuggets. When he signed, nobody on the Nuggets thought that he'd be playing dang near 30 minutes. Nobody thought that. So he ain't going to be playing 27.9 minutes on the Kings. That's not happening. And I'm looking back here, he kind of split time with the Lakers and the Clippers, and he played 30 minutes for 21 games with the Clippers. But, besides that, he was playing 22 with the Clippers that next season. He has been a high-volume guy, but I don't think there's any idea or any conversation to be had about him playing that much.
Let me ask you this. Is there ever going to be a time you envision Schroeder and Westbrook playing on the floor at the same time?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But I think Westbrook would probably be playing the three.
Do you see any scenarios where the Kings play neither of them on the floor at the same time?
No.
Okay.
Not a ton.
Okay. So if we say it averages out to like 50 minutes a game between Schroeder and Westbrook, I guess we can say how many minutes do you think Schroeder's going to play on this team? 31 to 32, which means 17 to 18 for Westbrook.
Yeah, that feels... And that's minutes not going to the young guys.
Yeah, which also, by the way, probably more minutes right now because to your point, on offense, Westbrook might be a perfect 4 at times because all he does is just do the Harrison Barnes sit in the corner and shoot threes thing. But on defense, can you get away with him being a 3 or a 4 is the question. How much are you willing to – because the flip side of him being a 4 on offense is he's got to guard wings or forwards on defense, which you'd rather have – Nick Clifford for, and that's why it's going to be a push and pull all season on what are you gaining on offense versus what are you losing on defense.
Yeah, that is the tough part about, and I'm just getting these texts from everybody that I sent out. I'm not gonna say anything in case it doesn't happen, but we do have some good names lined up throughout the rest of the show. So yeah, it's interesting, man. And it's just, to me, people that are upset about it. I just didn't really get how upset people are, right? I didn't really understand how upset people are just as far as bringing him in and the expectations you had for the season. I see somebody from the 530, I haven't seen it, but I guess there's a SI article that identifies 10 defensive 4s that would help. Terrible, but classic Kings move. Thanks. That's from Jeff. I haven't been able to look at that article. I'm assuming those guys are on teams. So we're talking about a trade. So we're talking about moving assets. And part of the reason, a big reason, I'm a completely different person walking into the building today if they gave up something for Russell Westbrook. They did not. So I would need to hear those names from the 5-3-0. I would need to hear those names of the defensive fours, and then we got to talk about what you're giving up. So that's just my initial thought on it, and we'll see what happens there. The Kings now have 15 of 15 NBA rosters filled, meaning they would have to trade, waive, or buy out a guaranteed NBA contract to add another player. They have the point guards, Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, the wings, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Keon Ellis, Malik Monk, Devin Carter, Nick Clifford, and Doug McDermott. The forwards, Keegan Murray, Dario Saric, and Isaac Jones. Doug could be a forward. They're not really going to play him there, but he technically has the size for it. Same with Nick Clifford. Centers, Domantas Sabonis, Drew Eubanks, and Maxime Reynaud, who also might end up in that 4 spot. So that's where the Kings are right now. I'm trying to see, Kyle, I think you sent it to me, how things have changed, if at all. After signing Westbrook, the Kings' odds are now plus, this is so messed up, the Kings' odds are now plus 25,000 to win the Western Conference this season. Hey, you on your way to Reno? You on your way to Vegas?
There's always a way up, isn't there?
That's right. The win total, as we've said time and time again on this show, 34.5. How has it changed? Look, this is 15 minutes ago. And for the Kings, we're on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Okay, they didn't even include the Kings, but the Sacramento Kings, there's a day ago, so we'll get the official one for you. I got something on my phone, but and Kyle can look it up too. Kyle, you got it?
Are you looking for the over-under or just the odds to win?
The over-under.
Let's see what we can find here.
Yeah, the over-under.
Yeah.
Here we go. I got it. From DraftKings. Looking at the futures market, the Kings now hold, and this is updated because the article is, can Russell Westbrook lead the Kings to the playoffs? And the line, or I guess the plus minus moved by 1. Now they're at 35.5.
I went on the FanDuel one. They're still at 34.5.
That hasn't been updated yet. We got to wait for it to get updated.
Who's the couple people who are moving the market?
Yeah. Just wait on it. Or buy low. I'm telling you, 34.5 with Russell Westbrook, that's easy money.
Well, we're not telling you anything.
Well, I'm telling you that I'm not telling you, but I think 34.5 seems a little low. I thought it was low before. Here's the thing. I thought it was low before the season started. Then I saw them play against the Blazers or the Raptors, and I thought, 34.5 might be perfect. Now you add Russell Westbrook. 34.5 just seems so disrespectful. I'll never get over it.
34.5 just doesn't sit right with you.
It does not sit right with me. And, I would never, I'm not telling anybody what to do. But look, we can look back, and if they don't get there, here's the thing for me. If they don't get there, then we know, unless they do something ridiculous with the trade, but if they don't get there, then we know they're in a great spot to get a top 4 pick. That's what we do know. So either I'm wrong, or either I'm right, and the Kings are a bit better than that, or I'm wrong and the Kings are in a better position to get a top pick.
Sure.
That's how I see it.
But there's also like a lot of ways to get to the top pick, right? Like I as much as I would want Cooper Flagg, I wouldn't want to go through what Dallas went through last year in order to land Cooper Flagg. So even if your team is bad, that could mean you're trading certain players. Certain players have development issues. There's injuries. There's a lot of different ways to end up at the top pick, where if your organization isn't aligned, you're not going to put those top picks in the best positions to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know Neek specifically, a lot of people are excited to see him. I will say this, though. Everybody that is upset, can we keep it 1,000? That first Russell Westbrook dunk or a hustle play, you're going to be cheering him on. You know you are.
Sure. But
you know you are.
I mean,
even Carmichael Dave, he's going to be, man, that was fun, though.
The people who can't even enjoy that are the people who probably shouldn't watch the games because it's just going to make you miserable. Right? This whole season, if you are of the mind that this team needs to get younger and they need to make trades and they need to do X, Y, and Z, this season is going to be miserable for you. Nick Clifford can only find minutes at the 4 now unless they're going to bench Malik Monk, and the Sacramento Kings are essentially just going for unction, but like if the Clippers are doing unction correctly, they're like doing the unction second tier at this point. Like the guys that the Clippers didn't want to invite to the unction.
Yeah, and speaking of unction, there are a lot of texts today, but this is definitely top 3 contender for text of the day from our guy Nick. Kings didn't say, because I'm always saying they didn't say uncle. Kings didn't say uncle, they signed an uncle. That's a good one, Nick. That's top 3 right now, and there's plenty to read through. Some of y'all got MLA format, a whole paragraph. I can't be reading all this, man.
Someone posted an AI image of Westbrook on the river shooting on a yacht. It's very good.
And you got the Tower Bridge in the background.
Yeah, he's on the Sacramento River shooting on a yacht. I think the shot may have bricked.
All righty. Well, Brett Siegel will join us on the other side, give his thoughts and what this now means for the future of the Sacramento Kings. He kicks off, and I'm getting confirmation from another name as well. So do not move as we get a little bit later into the show. The guests are going to start popping up here, very similar to Media Day, because they're all running around, and I'm grabbing them as they are available. So don't move. We are about to move into the more guest-heavy area of the show. And also you can be a guest. 916-339-1140. Call in and give us your thoughts. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation.
Groundworks, official foundation repair company of Cal Athletics. Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
Footballs are flying. The days are getting shorter. Fall is officially here. Will your heater be able to get you through the winter? The heater at Whiteywood shut down last winter. So who did we call? Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. We wanted somebody we could trust to do the job right and deliver great value, and Lee's came through. Check them out at leesair.com. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating has built a reputation as the leading HVAC company in Sacramento. We've got a new HVAC system that works great, saves us money month to month. Find out how they can help you at leesair.com. License number 635355.
For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options. Heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Catch all the action at Sky River Casino. Enjoy over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and a thrilling high-limit room. Plus, with 18 elevated restaurants, bars, and lounge destinations, and Sky River rewards that add up and up. There's something for everyone. Just minutes from Sacramento, right off Highway 99 in Elk Grove. Join in the fun and experience new heights. Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The excitement of the game is here, and so are the model year-end savings at Stockton Honda, the best Honda dealer in Northern California. Score big with low payments, more for your trade, and a huge selection. Don't wait. The clock is ticking at StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Based on the results of the study, recognized on June 18, 2025, USA Today's list of California's top car dealers 2025.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sinners and Saints is back at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 25th.
Don't miss the Michael Jackson tribute concert, the $5,000 costume contest, and more. Don't have FOMO checking your social media, seeing your friends posted from the party.
Get your tickets now at ThunderValleyResort.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
We have a whole list that we are going to provide for you today. And first, some of the names I don't want to reveal yet because we're still getting super, triple, double confirmation. Brandon Nunez will join us at 12:30. There's another name, a couple other names that we will reveal. And trust me, you don't want to miss them the same way you don't want to miss this, as always, when Brett Siegel joins us, NBA insider for Clutch Points. Brett, thank you so much for joining us.
Alan, how's it going, man? Nice to talk to you.
So it finally happened, Brett. We've talked about it for a while here now. Once the Kuminga thing ended, there was conversation about, all right, can they now focus on Keegan Murray, which they might still get done even though Keegan was injured, Russell Westbrook, the name that we've heard throughout the summer, and they finally got it done. I can't ask you whether you're surprised, because I know you're not, because nobody is surprised if they've been following along. But does this move the needle for you at all?
Not really. I think it just complicates the problems even more of when you look at where the Sacramento Kings are as a franchise. You have a bunch of guys that are experienced, which is good. You have prior All-Star experience, which is good. But how are they all going to fit together? How are you going to play Zach LaVine, Sabonis, DeRozan, Schroeder, and now Russell Westbrook, all experienced options in this league that have multiple years of playoff experience, All-Star experience? How is this group going to look? And I think that obviously we'll find out over the first few weeks of the season, and that first month will really be telling of what this season is going to look like for the Kings. Are they going to be a team that exceeds expectations and they go into the year, they start playing well, and they can end up as a top 5, top 6 team in the Western Conference? Or will they go the opposite direction? And it's just further proof that things are not moving in the right direction. We'll see a complete fire sale before the trade deadline. So I think that what this signing does is it signals that the front office do want to be competitive. Russell Westbrook is a guy that they targeted since the offseason started as being a winning type talent that could help them win right now. They needed extra backcourt help, given that Schroeder is really their only proven point guard on this team. And now you bring in Russell Westbrook to be his backup, and you have your backcourt figured out. But I'll say this, Alan, when you look at the talent on their roster and you look at the names in their backcourt, it's just further proof and further confirmation that they do want to, in fact, move on from Malik Monk and Devin Carter at some point.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Let's put Malik on the back burner for now. As that conversation has come up, they did pick up Devin Carter's option yesterday, and you're saying the same way others are saying, look, that's kind of something that happens. It's pretty typical that happens when you have a first rounder, unless something has gone completely sideways. So they pick up the option, but if anybody is kind of on the outskirts, paying attention from the outside looking in, thinking, hey, maybe this means that they like Devin Carter more than everybody is making it off to be, you would say maybe not so fast, my friend, on that one, and that it's more of just a necessity that typically happens, Brett?
Well, he's obviously just not ready. And if they deemed that he was ready to play and they thought that he was going to be a main rotational piece, I don't think they would have made the move to bring in Russell Westbrook, because now when you bring in Westbrook, he's not going to be sitting the bench. He's going to be a guy that's playing. The guy that's going to be sitting now and watching and learning is going to be Devin Carter. So this is really a big year for him to learn from all these veterans on the roster. I think that can only be beneficial to him. It can't hurt. Obviously, you want to see him play, and that's how he's ultimately going to get experience in this league, is being on the court with these guys. But his time will come, and he's going to have opportunities to play for the Kings this year. But between now and the trade deadline, I think that he's in a very similar spot as some of these other guys that we've been talking about that could be on the trade block come February, where if he's not living up to expectations in his role and they're not seeing improvements during practice and behind the scenes, all of a sudden you have a recent first-round pick that could be looking for a new home and a guy that you may just look to salvage value. Because don't forget, he was a draft pick of the prior guys in that front office of Monty McNair and his staff. Now you bring in Scott Perry, you have a whole new philosophy, you have a new direction that you're trying to go. You just drafted Nick Clifford, who plays that 2-3, maybe even can be a point guard in the future. Where does Devin Carter really fit in this equation? And that's the question that I really asked when you saw the Russell Westbrook signing, is all these names on this list, all the money that's allocated, somebody's going to go. And right now I'm looking at Devin Carter as being that guy where another team could look to swoop in and buy him low to give him an opportunity to play.
You know, Brett, it's funny, and I'm just coming up with this. We're going to get to Malik Monk, but I had this thought, and I don't pay as close of attention to the Lakers as maybe the rest of the NBA, but I did see that story about the negative asset with Dalton Connect. Look, Brett, back in the day, I wanted Dalton Connect. I just wasn't paying attention to Devin Carter because I thought the Kings, 2 guards later, I thought the Kings didn't need a guard at that time. Is there any world where the Lakers and Kings just say, you know what, give me your, 2024 draft pick that can't get any time, and let's just go from there? You think that's a crazy thought?
I don't. You never know in this league. Maybe the Kings want some extra shooting, and Dalton Connect has exhibited that. He's a really strong shooter from the perimeter, and there's still potential there for him to grow. Devin Carter, obviously, I think has a leg up on Dalton Connect in terms of trade value because he has that two-way abilities, and I think that he's a more athletic player than Dalton Connect. That's just my opinion, but it varies from team to team. It really depends on what each team wants and how they view these guys, but it's definitely not crazy to think that those two guys could be traded for each other. It's not crazy to think that the Kings, all they may get is a second-round pick for Devin Carter if they make him available. But entering the year, he's definitely not somebody that they're dangling out to teams anymore. That's what it was during the offseason, the same with Malik Monk. Now they have their 15-man roster entering the year. They're going to see what this group can give them, and then they're going to make decisions come December, come January, and figure out, okay, what's our trajectory? What are we looking like? Do we even have a chance to make the playoffs? And then that's when the front offices will really dive into what changes need to be made.
Talking to Brett Siegel, NBA insider for Clutch Points. Yeah, and that's exactly what I said to kick off the show, Brett. There are a lot of fans that are upset at the signing and thinking, hey, they could have got a 4 and they could have done some different things. But in my opinion, Brett, this doesn't really change much, right? This still just gives the Kings, and we're all afraid of that 9-10 seed because that's how you kind of miss out and put yourself in a bad spot for the lottery, and it's a very strong 2026 draft class. But this doesn't change much to me, Brett. You see what happens. You give it the old college try up until January, and, if you're not there, I think the question becomes, if you're a 9-10, do they still try to compete, which I hope they don't. But you're not there, and you blow the whole thing up. Isn't that exactly what this was going to be anyway?
Right, and you have nothing to lose. You can even go back and look at other teams through the years. A great example is the Charlotte Hornets, where they knew they weren't going to be competitive over the last few years, but that hasn't stopped them from bringing in guys and seeing what this group can do. Mm-hmm. And we've seen the growth that they've made, and now the Hornets are on an upward trajectory. And I think that the Sacramento Kings can follow a similar path where they have some of these aging veterans, they have some young talents. Bring in a guy like Westbrook because he can not only help behind the scenes, and he's a true professional. I mean, these young guys on the Kings can learn a lot from Russell Westbrook. You've heard a lot from players around the league how they absolutely love being around him and playing with him, and such a charismatic guy. And you bring that into your locker room, it can do a lot for a franchise for 6-7 years from now, just to help set that culture and set that standard for some of these young guys of what it means to be a pro, and they've never been around that before. Now you have guys like Sabonis, DeRozan, LaVine. all these guys have been in the league together for years, and I think that type of experience matters as well in terms of chemistry, where they have 8, 9, 10 years of experience playing. That's going to translate to on-court success, whether Kings fans want to believe that, whether it looks like it in person, but there's little things that these veterans know what to do, and they know how to play with each other before they've even done it. And I think that that's going to pay dividends for the Kings early on in the year. Whether or not that means they can be competitive and be a championship contender, that's a whole separate discussion. But in terms of making this signing for Russell Westbrook, yeah, it doesn't really change anything for your outlook. It doesn't change anything for your future. It's just, let's see if this works. And if it does, great. If not, you can easily make a change before the trade deadline. And worst comes to worst, if you really don't want Westbrook there and things aren't going well, you can simply cut him. And that's something that we've seen multiple teams do through the years with veteran players, especially when you look back with the Houston Rockets with what happened, not only with Westbrook, but with John Wall as well.
Brett Siegel, national NBA insider and reporter for Clutch Points. Brett, thank you so much as always, man. We really appreciate you taking the time. It is busy right now, so we appreciate you taking the time. And we will, of course, talk to you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day and take it easy.
Sounds good, Alan. Thanks, man.
Great stuff from Brett Siegel. When we return, like I said, the extravaganza is beginning, and we're going to go a little bit earlier here. We're going to get to a break right now, but Anthony Slater of ESPN joins us right after these quick words, okay, from our sponsors. Do not move. We are going to be on the phone with Anthony Slater of ESPN. First time I've had him on the show since he is now part of ESPN. So we're talking to Anthony Slater in about 2-3 minutes. You do not want to miss this. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
For the latest from Kings training camp.
Tune in to Sactown Sports 1140.
This Sactown Sports 49ers report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. The 49ers lose in Tampa Bay on Sunday 30-19, but far worse for San Francisco. They lose their all-pro linebacker Fred Warner for the season with a devastating broken and dislocated right ankle. San Francisco comes home to take on Atlanta for Sunday Night Football. You can catch all the action beginning at 4 o'clock right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip, if a firm presents as local but they're in L.A., red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Stockton 99 Speedway, Saturday, October 18th. It's championship night. Late models, modified sprint cars, and the insane trailer racing. Plus a huge fireworks show to light up the sky. Tickets start at just $20. Don't miss the season finale. Stockton99.com.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sactown Sports.
I told y'all not to move. It is a Westbrook extravaganza, and we are joined by Anthony Slater, who covers the NBA for ESPN. First time having you on since the ESPN gig, Slater. I know it was a couple months ago, but got to throw out congrats to you. I've known you for a while, so got to throw out that congrats to you. Appreciate you taking the time, man. I know you're running around.
Yeah, I'm feeling old, man. I flew this morning at like 6-something a.m. out of Portland, and I'm feeling it. It's like, you know, this is my 13th year covering the league. I actually covered Russell Westbrook my first few.
Yeah.
And I just like a 2-game preseason trip to LA and Portland is starting to get to me. I'm like, that's a concern.
I mean, what do you mean by that though? The flying, is it the seat, right? You're just a little, are you just tired or are you sore? What's going on?
All the above. And then, you know, I'm trying to make it out tonight to this Kings preseason game, and I'm like, the back-to-back, I'm like dreading how, you know, I'm like, what time do I have to leave to get to the arena? But, you know, again, this is me complaining about getting old, but I guess it's a good transition because, you know, what year's Russell Westbrook in? Because I was covering him early in his career, and he's still kicking.
Yeah, be 37 in November. So, look, Slater, if he can play in the NBA, you can hop on some planes, all right?
And, I know, I'm whining.
And thanks for hopping on the show, of course. Look, let's start here. Obviously, this was being talked about all off season. It finally happens. Do you think this is something that would have happened, or was it all connected to the Jonathan Kuminga stuff? Because we heard about both going on at the same time, and I made the joke, the Uno joke, either sign Keegan Murray to an extension or draw 20, and the Kings just continue to keep doing other things. Do you think that this would have happened if they added Kuminga, or was it an either-or situation?
I think it's all about the dominoes. You know, you mentioned Uno, but, you know, board games, right?
Yeah.
Just like any type of move, you know, creates a different reaction. You know, the Kings' business was held up by, you know, the team I cover, you know, most prominently, just having their entire business held up by Kuminga. He held up so much, and the Kings, to the finish line, still had a belief, even if it was like a 5%, 10% belief that they could maybe steal Kuminga away. And through part of that, I mean, we all know, you know, Malik Monk was shopped around the summer. Devin Carter was in conversations, and I think not only would that have created a smoother opening for Russell Westbrook to definitely come through, but also, you know, you never know what the money looks like and what type of money he could have sought out. I know that was, for example, the situation in Golden State where, depending on what happened with Kuminga's sign-and-trade qualifying offer or the deal he took, that was going to affect what Al Horford could ultimately make. That was going to affect the type of years DeAnthony Melton could have on his minimum deal. So it's just like the business side is often held up by other people in the league.
Talking to Anthony Slater, who covers the NBA for ESPN. Anthony, does this feel like more of a culture thing? I know there have been reports about the backup point guard, and we'll talk about Malik in a little bit, but does this feel like more of a culture thing? Let's bring a dog into the building, or do they think, no, Russell Westbrook is going to help us win, I don't know, 5, 7, dare I say 10 games this season?
I mean, both kind of, right? I mean, they would hope like a culture shift would be additive in the win column. It at least like provides more juice to the whole situation, right? I mean, I think you do the radio show every day, especially with them striking out on the Kuminga chase. Like there felt like a little bit of a dullness around the situation. And I'm not saying Russell Westbrook jolts a credible amount of life to it, but I feel like, you know, there'll be 5 to 6 home games in Golden One this year where, you know, he'll maybe get a little hot streak going, be kind of like roaring at the crowd after one of his like throwback flashback dunks. I mean, again, I sat in courtside in Oklahoma City on the scorer's table for 4 years watching him just erupt that arena on an almost nightly basis. And of course he does not do that anymore, but he might do that for 5-minute spurts 8 times this year. And that's, I guess, better than if he wasn't around. Again, I don't think it materially changes their playoff outlook much.
Yeah.
But the entertainment factor probably just got a little bit better.
You know, I just thought about this as I'm talking to you here. One of your colleagues, Ramona Shelburne, she put out that piece on Russell Westbrook during the playoffs in Denver. And like I said, this was just off the top of my head. I'm thinking, Anthony, just as far as what if he doesn't get playing time and there's positives and negatives, what do you know about that situation? And I guess what could go bad for the Kings, which everyone is saying that the Kings are okay with taking this chance. But if he's not playing enough, he played 27 minutes on the Nuggets. And they still had these issues. If he's not playing enough, what is the cause to pause that is maybe why other teams said, you know what, I think I'm good off Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, well, number one, he's a minimum deal, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if it really goes haywire, like it's a low cost to just, you know, split from it if needed. Now, what you bring up is fair. I would say his last 3 stops, from what you gather, didn't end terrifically, right? Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets. He had a player option in his Nuggets deal and opted to walk away. It was a very interesting playoffs, right? Because you could probably point to 3 games that Russell Westbrook really helped the Nuggets win in the playoffs, and 3 games he helped them lose in a lot of ways. And even dating to the Malone firing, remember a couple of the losses late in Malone's tenure where he had the foul and the 3 guy, you know, guy shooting a 3 in the corner after he'd like bricked the layup, and there was clearly some like internal angst going on there, and the fact that he chose to walk away from a guaranteed deal and back into free agency where, you know, nothing seemed in cement, like that probably tells you something about how that ended. But, you know, I mentioned it. It's like it's a minimum deal. It's low cost. Like, to me, the problem, if you go back to his Lakers tenure when he was still on the big mega contract that he had signed from the Thunder, that's a bigger issue when one of your main core pieces is unsettled or you know, unhappy, because those are harder contracts to move. And it's just, if $30 million per year type player is, you know, either not contributing or causing issues like that can really sink a team.
Talking to Anthony Slater, who covers the NBA for ESPN. Just a couple more for you, Slate, because I know you're running around. Let's discuss Malik Monk. So you were in the fold here because Malik Monk was talked about as it pertains to the Golden State Warriors and the Kuminga deal. Does this affect the value of Malik Monk? And as the conversation comes up for the backup point guard position and how the Kings felt that they needed one, is he viewed as not a point guard, period? Or does this feel like a Kings thing where they don't like the way he plays the position?
I mean, he's a 2.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Russ kind of is, too, at this point. Dennis Schroeder, I wouldn't even call a pure point. I know that's like they went into the offseason talking about getting a pure point. And, like, Schroeder, maybe of the 3 of those, is kind of a little bit more pass first, but he's like, you know, ball dominant. I mean, the entire Kings roster is. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the fit issue, but yeah. So I mean, the league doesn't view Malik Monk as like, you know, a run the team type point guard. They view him as a 6-man scorer, which obviously he's kind of bristled against over the last few years and tried to get himself into the starting lineup. Did get himself in the starting lineup as the point guard post De'Aaron Fox, but how did that go? You know, I think, you know, we all watched the end of last season. So, you know, contract-wise, you know, depending on, like, I could see a team talking themselves into if they really need some scoring punch off the bench, like Monk being at least, you know, even value if he has a pretty good couple months going into the deadline. But, you know, the reality is, you know, if we're talking about the Warriors situation, they didn't want him. They didn't want that contract. It was almost a non-starter, like, you know, for Malik Monk to be the returning salary. They're interested in picks. They're interested in intriguing young guys. They just weren't interested in Malik Monk with the 3 years left on his deal, including the player option in the 3rd season, which, by the way, they wouldn't give to Kuminga for that season, right? So that just – it's also, we're in the second apron world. It's changed so much. I mean, I think we all know that. We don't need to get into CBA dynamics, but those mid-tier contracts are just viewed spookier to teams right now because everybody's trying to get their books tighter.
Yeah. The last one for you, talking to Anthony Slater, who covers the NBA for ESPN. And we know he covers that team out there in the Bay. But last one for you, Slater. Should Kings fans be worried that the Kings organization might be happy in the play-in again? Because that's my whole thing. A lot of people are upset at this signing. But my thought process is, hey, you're going to get to January. If this team stinks the same way a lot of fans think they will stink, then they blow it up. They go get a top 4 pick in a really strong 2026 draft, and you go from there. There's no problem in my world, but should they be worried that the Kings might be 9-10 and they say, no, we're going to hold on, dare I say, maybe even try to add and just get stuck in that 9-10 purgatory again?
I mean, they're in the purgatory. They got a new GM who, at this point, Scott Perry, it seems like they're going to give him a runway here to rebuild it in his image, and should give him time for that because it's a cleanup job. I just don't know how they immediately get out of the purgatory because, you got a lot of veterans who are not going to want to sit there and have a tank type season. They're going to want to try to compete and win on a nightly basis and believe, not only could they maybe get in the play-in, but they could make some noise. So you're going to give them this early runway. Also, Doug Christie's coaching, in a lot of ways, for his future, right? This is a trial run for Doug Christie. And Kings fans want to go out to the arena over the next several months and, watch a team that is coming out with some ferocity and some desire to, up their own careers, but also, win home games. And I think that's okay. You mentioned, maybe a pivot point come January, February. In a crowded West, if you pivot at the right time, you can, like you said, you can get yourself down. Dallas gets Cooper Flagg. That's the other thing with the flattened lottery odds, right? Dallas beat the Kings in the play-in game last year, and we're sitting very late in the lottery and got Cooper Flagg, which is crazy in its own right. So you don't have to be a bottom 3 record to get a top 3 pick in the NBA. You just gotta get lucky. Number one. And two, it's just you can't move off a lot of these contracts very easily that are stuck on the Kings books. So I don't even know how, unless you're just going to deactivate all your veterans who would not want to be deactivated at the start of the season, I don't really know how you pivot to being a Utah Jazz, because just look at the Jazz's rotation to start the season.
Right. Talking to Anthony Slater. Great stuff, Anthony. We appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a plane to catch. Look, you ESPN now. You ain't on the G5 jet. What's going on, Slater? I'm just saying, dude. You got the leg room first. They got your first class now?
Hey, a G5 jet is still, you got to get to the airport on time. You got to sit in the seat. They don't give you the beds. Not many G5 jets going Portland to Sac to catch a back-to-back. You going to be out at the arena tonight?
I'm not. Look, well, I haven't talked to you. I got baby number 2 now, so I'm not. I'm a regular season cat right now. I'm a regular season cat. She's only a month. She's only a month, so I'll be out there though.
All right. I'll see you early in the season.
All right, man. Appreciate you. That's Anthony Slater of ESPN. Thank you for taking the time. When we return, we are keeping the conversation going. Brendan Nunes might hop on in here. The Kings pick up Devin Carter's option. What does Will Z Stats thinks that means for his future? And whoever else might pop up on the show. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with primetime football. It's back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high-hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. Offering the best food, best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, and conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800 gambler.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121.
When I was a kid, I remember my dad, a lineman, leaving in the middle of the night. Families were depending on him to get their power back on to keep them safe and warm. Watching him taught me that this work isn't just about wires and circuits. It's about people and the trust they place in us when the lights go out. That's why I started Maverick Electric Heating and Air, to carry on that same promise of showing up, doing it right, and protecting families when they need us most. Visit callamaverick.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kyle Draper here. If you're in the market for a new car, let me tell you about my experience with Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the moment I walked into their state-of-the-art showroom, I knew I was making the right choice. There was no pressure from the sales staff, and if I'm being honest, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV, and let me tell you why. First of all, the comfort. After a long day at work, I actually look forward to being in my car. It has several different massage settings, including my favorite, hot relaxing back. Plus, the seat heating and cooling features are perfect for the hot summer or those chilly mornings. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. They're just a short drive down I-5, or you can shop online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com, and tell them Drape sent you.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sactown Sports 1140.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sactown Sports.
We are joined. We're moving things around, like I said, because a ton of guests are joining us. And Brendan Nunes, we bumped him on up because he was just hanging out. Oh, by the way, give me a second here. By the way, we have the giveaway, and we got the secret code. The secret code for the Kimpton Sawyer. Kyle, Brendan, how you doing, man? Let me get this code. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing well. We had obviously Russell Westbrook news this morning that adds to why people want to be at these games, and the giveaway obviously plays into that. We got Dennis Schroeder, former teammate, Domantas Sabonis, former teammate of Russell Westbrook, who is now a member of the Sacramento Kings, and you may have a chance to see the Kings.
That's right. Brendan Nunes joins us, and I'm sure Brendan would love to be there too at the Kimpton Sawyer. Sactown
Sensual
Sports.
Stephen A is back.
Well, you don't, just because the Westbrook news dropped doesn't mean I won't get on into it. Sactown Sports is giving you a chance to win a pair of lower level seats to the Sacramento Kings versus OKC game on November 7th, a one-night stay. a magical stay at the Kimpton Sawyer, and $200 to Revival, downtown Sacramento's social hotspot. Enjoy elevated vibes, stylish crowd, and the perfect view of the Beam after a Kings win over the defending champions. Text in today's keyword to 916-339-1140, and that will give you a chance to win. Today's keyword is light, L-I-G-H-T. That might get some of y'all. L-I-G-H-T, light. Okay, light the beam, L-I-G-H-T. Text that in within the next 2 hours. The Drive Guys will have a new keyword for you, but today's keyword on the Allen Stiles Show is light, L-I-G-H-T. So, Brendan, they were roasting me when we were transitioning from the morning show to this show, and they said, you're going to crash at 1:30 because I'm all hyped up. Dave is in the complete other direction, which kind of hypes me up even more because Dave is all pessimistic about Westbrook, joking about him being old, all this stuff. And I'm just coming in just very excited about the whole thing. And now that we are a little bit later into the show, I haven't cooled off a bit, but we are understanding I don't want him to take time away from some of the younger guys. I don't know how much it's going to help the team, but I just think bringing a Hall of Famer in and not losing anything. I did not want to move a Devin Carter in order to bring him in. I did not want to move Malik Monk to bring him in. Now there's more of a logjam, but let's just see how it plays out. Obviously, this had been talked about for a while, but now that it's done, what are your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they definitely felt like they needed a backup point guard. You know, it was clear coming into the offseason that that was a primary need for this team, and Dennis Schroeder was the only addition. Like, they didn't really have somebody that fills that primary spot, I think, in a comfortable way, right? Like, ask Malik Monk about the difference of playing point guard and shooting guard. His perspective is, hey, you kind of got to play point guard your whole life in order to be good at that. And obviously, that's not what he's accustomed to. That's not what Keon Ellis is accustomed to, or Devin Carter. So I think Russ definitely plays into that. As some of the guys you've had on have talked about, I think it could be a little bit of a, roller coaster of a ride at times throughout his minutes. But the way that he fits the main thing that the Kings are trying to do this year, and I would say that's build an identity. On court, maybe doesn't fit in the smoothest way when it comes to picking up 94 feet, and I'm curious to see how that will transition as time goes on throughout this preseason and regular season. But I think that you like having that fight on your team, and you look at Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook, guys that played together, by the way. We talked to Dennis a little bit about it this morning, and the main things he pointed out is competitor, close friend, and never backs down. Hall of Famer, obviously. They played together in OKC. He played together with Domas in OKC. I believe that Russ was even Domas's vet coming in Domas's rookie year. So I think definitely adds a spark and a fiery personality to this team that sometimes in the past previous years could get pushed around a little bit. But to your point of the younger guys, I do think it's hard to imagine that this doesn't take away. Like, I can't figure out how Devin Carter fits in the rotation now. And to be honest, that may have already been the case.
Yeah.
But it does feel like this is going to have to mean less for probably Nick Clifford and Keon Ellis and maybe Malik Monk.
Yeah, and that's a good call, Brendan, because, and Kyle, we were going to count this off because they picked up Devin Carter's option. People are saying, does that mean they really like Devin Carter now? And maybe we had that wrong.
You'd have to hate him to turn it down.
It's more about that, right? It's more that
he's still cheaper than Westbrook for next year.
But no Westbrook yet, right? That first game, I know that second game, the broadcast was brutal, so it just gave me a headache, to be completely honest with you. And I was getting
Hansen, though.
Yeah, I was getting pooped on. It's just a lot going on. So
okay. You don't need a. It's
with
okay.
a diaper.
Oh, okay.
With a diaper.
Okay.
Yeah, she had on the diaper, but it's like musical chairs. If I'm holding her,
gross.
And
Your wife wears a diaper?
No,
okay.
the baby.
Oh, just making sure.
If I'm holding her, whoever she poops with, that's a cleaner.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that seems fair.
It's like musical chairs.
Yeah,
but it's always me.
So you're trying to
even with number one. I don't know what it is.
There
with
was
me.
a little toot here. You take her. That's
when
all you.
When the music starts speeding up, no, here you go.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Why don't you hold her? Yeah, exactly. But with that being said, now you look at the Kings in that rotation and the Devin Carter
segue there.
No, there's nowhere to go. Let's count it out. Domantas Sabonis, right? He played. Domantas. Keegan at the time, and I guess there's a spot there, but Domantas, Keegan, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Dennis Schroeder, Malik, Neek Clifford.
Did we say Keon?
I was going to say wait on Neek.
Well, I'm just saying
I
that
think
first
Neek
game
will be part of the rotation.
Drew
Neek,
Eubanks.
If you want to get spicy, you know who was wearing the black penny today? The starter penny?
Was it Maxime again?
No. It was Dario Saric.
Oh, here we go. Now we're cooking.
It's the time to test it.
Now we're cooking.
So we added the pieces of the Nuggets. The Nuggets said
exactly.
Please no.
Yes,
exactly.
We're just a land of misfit toys.
You know how
literally.
Yeah.
You know how Dave used to say we should be modeling ourselves after the Nuggets.
Yeah.
This is
now
not what
we're
he meant.
kind of doing it, but just taking the parts of the Nuggets they absolutely do not want.
Yeah.
What's Mike Malone up to?
Yeah. Hey man, just get him on the coaching staff. Let's start on the staff.
Hell no.
No class. No class.
No class, no ball.
So you look at this rotation and remove Keegan. Do you enter Devin there, or obviously that's going to go to Russell Westbrook? And how worried are you? Or not worried, I guess, but do you think it's a foregone conclusion that Russell Westbrook is going to get, I don't know, 15, upwards of 15 minutes a night?
I think 15 is probably about the right range. I heard you talking about, is there ever going to be a minute where neither of Russ or Dennis Schroeder's on the floor? And in my mind, and this is just, how I view it, I'd imagine that you sign him so that is never the case, that you just always have one of these guys that have played point guard for most of their careers, and you can argue Dennis a little bit there, that you just always have one of them on the floor to orchestrate everything out there. I don't know how much you'd see them play alongside each other. Like I'd imagine that Russ is mainly going to be in that one spot, and the spacing is definitely something to be concerned about, but I think that, and I looked at their catch and shoot numbers, they're actually not as bad as you would think, but it's just about the gravity of it, right? Like how much are these guys really getting guarded out there?
We also looked up, one of the Nuggets guys said last year he shot 48% on the corner three, specifically in the right corner. So if Westbrook just runs to the corner and shoots threes, that might help the offense a little bit.
That's very DeMar DeRozan. Like when they brought DeMar in, everybody's like, the corner three, though. And Westbrook shot 33% on 2.8 catch and shoot threes per game last year. It's not horrible. You certainly would like higher than that. But I think, back to your Keegan question a little, I think they have to go small. Maybe it's going to be a Dario Saric or an Isaac Jones, and I'm sure that they'll test that out throughout the preseason here. Mm-hmm. But I would go either Keon Ellis or Neek Clifford.
Where are you at with Isaac Jones?
Go ahead.
You think it's, because this is the thing, it's a big difference between somebody getting an opportunity because they forced their way and getting an opportunity because they did force their way, but it's also a good situation. What I mean by that is there's really no denying that Keon Ellis would play on most teams.
Right.
Where are you in the camp of Isaac Jones? The way you're kind of smirking, it feels like it's more of a great story, but also we're talking about a team that's fighting for the play-in every season, and that's maybe why Isaac Jones is getting some run.
Yeah, I like Isaac, and I think that he did a lot last year to show that he deserves a spot. Mm-hmm. But I still, until proven differently, like they're trying to move him to be more of a 3 or a 4, more so the 4 this year, until I see that and that three-point shooting and defending on the perimeter, I just still think he's a 5. And that, I think he's very playable. I think he's a great rim runner. In Summer League, we saw him be electric around the rim. Like, he's not scared of anybody. He's going to try to put somebody in the basket. He was also, I believe, 3 of 9 throughout all of Summer League, when the main focus, maybe not main focus, but one of the big transitions to moving him at the 4 is that three-point shooting. He airmailed one in Portland, and take the misses for what you will, but they haven't looked very good. And so
he made that big one in Summer League, though.
He did make some. So I think that I just need to see that more. And at his size, maybe he's not most ideal as a 5. I get the idea of moving him to the 4, partially because, hey, that's just where the minutes are going to be at for you if you want to survive in the league for a decade plus. But I just still think he's best optimized as a 5. And in my mind, there still could be moments. I actually do really like Drew Eubanks and thinks he can fill his 12 minutes no problem consistently. But if he's not cutting it, I think that's where I could see Isaac sliding in, even though I do expect him to try out that 4 spot a little bit throughout preseason.
Okay, so your priority list and how you would go about it, Isaac would be behind, as you mentioned before, Keon and Neek.
Yeah. when it comes to that starting spot for sure. And again, I know that you're going to be small, but I'm not really too worried about DeMar playing the 4. I mean, that's a weird way to say that because it's all based on what are your other options, you know? And I don't think that he's going to do a worse job guarding 4s than Dario Saric, than Doug McDermott, than probably Isaac Jones. You know, DeMar is a smart player. I think that with the foot speed not being great, putting him on more physical guys, it could make sense. Now, if we're talking to Julius Randle, Lauri Markkanen, like, that's tough. Don't get me wrong, but I don't really know who your better options are. So I kind of would probably go towards the guys that fit what you're trying to do already. And I did an exercise with Chris Watkins going down the line of like the 10 teams that they're going to play to start the season. More often than not, there's funnily enough, Utah, but Milwaukee, there's teams with a lot of size. But for the most part, I think that you can get away with running DeMar at the 4. And, you know, you're the one guarding Jared Vanderbilt, for example. And so I probably would go in a smaller direction.
Right. Those offense-focused, and obviously when Keegan comes back, that's who he'll guard. But those offense-focused 4s where you have Julius Randle, who just kills the Kings, those bowling balls, the Zion Williamson, Aaron Gordon, who all of a sudden has a bag.
Well, like Giannis, right? I was looking at Milwaukee, and in my mind, I'm like, maybe you just put in, obviously, we're talking Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Miles Turner. I might put DeMar on Miles Turner. And put Domas on Giannis, for example. You know, like get a little bit creative in some of these scenarios where you have those big teams.
Yeah, and there's also a part of this where people are thinking you're hiding DeMar, right? Regardless, that's what it is. But people are thinking the Kings could have went out and got somebody. And I saw this yesterday, and I'm just going to address it now. TR on the Sac chat saying the Kings should go get Patrick Williams. Brother, I double checked yesterday, TR, $18 million for Patrick Williams. Are you serious? Are you or 18? Because I thought, okay, you know, a misfit toy doesn't work out. I get home, I pull up his contract because it's been a while. 18 a year for Patrick. I can't do. You cannot. You can take, look, Daquan Jeffries, who the Kings just signed. You said that he's been with the Kings before. Yeah. He's a power forward. Let's see what happens. I'm going there. I'm not paying 18 a year for Patrick Williams, but is there any part of this, Brendan, where you say, hey, if you were the Kings and you do lose Keegan Murray, should they have tried to find maybe not a Daquan Jeffries, somebody that costs a little bit more, maybe make a low-level trade to bring in a 4, which they kind of needed anyway? Or would you have rather, because I think some people just would have rather just don't do anything and just let the young guys play. Where were you at as far as not getting a Keegan replacement, but just adding some 4 depth?
Yeah, I think it's something that if it was going to happen, it needed to be addressed in the offseason, and it just didn't seem like they wanted to commit assets towards that, whether that be in free agency. Obviously, they went the direction of getting Dennis Schroeder. I would say that your starting point guard is a bigger priority than your backup 4 spot, you know, so that makes some sense. I know, like, Draper loved John Collins. That would have taken assets to go and do that.
Right.
And to be honest, like, I don't know how good they're going to be this year anyway. I think that's like the crux of all this, essentially, is that I kind of think that we are just waiting out a little bit of this season. You have to see what you have when it comes to Scott Perry's perspective, inheriting this, and you don't want to lock up future books. Like right now, they're set to be pretty free in 2027, so you don't want to lock up things beyond that. And if your plan is to eventually reset this, then how much do you want to commit to the current roster? So I don't critique them too much for it. It could have looked great. This is the scenario where you're like, man, I would love to have Jake LaRavia on this team right now.
Yeah.
Right? That would solve all of this, really. And he would fit that spot perfectly, but obviously that didn't end up playing out in their favor. And you can't even really knock the Kings for that. Yeah. So sure, they could have addressed it more so, but I think given coming into this year with the expectation of they're just trying to see what they got and then rework this down the line, I don't hate that they didn't address that depth amazingly, and maybe DeMar can play that more than we're thinking. Maybe I don't have enough faith in Dario Saric and Isaac Jones, and maybe they do, and those guys can become something.
Basically, Scott Perry is saying, look, y'all on your own. Yeah. You are the cavalry is not coming because
how good are they going to be this year?
No.
What could they have done to like project them to above the play-in? You know?
Yeah, and again, look, if you're talking in a perfect world, that's a problem with the Malik Monk contract. If you're talking John Collins for Malik Monk, cool. But that probably wasn't going to get done because Norman Powell, I think because it was a 3-team deal, Norman Powell is looked at He should have been an all-star, but he wasn't. Snubbed for the all-star. I think Norman Powell's looked at it a little bit. Yeah, he's looked at it a little bit differently than Malik Monk right now, which is crazy because I don't think that was the case in 2024. But once a lot of things can change in a season. I would have been okay with it, but you're right. You definitely cannot touch your 2026 pick, and really any of those high-level picks, it just wouldn't be worth it. Some of the low-level stuff, maybe if you could have done Malik and a second for John Collins, maybe. But why would the Jazz took back Kevin Love? They're not taking a 3-year deal from Malik Monk. They're not doing that.
And that's also we got. Warriors, Blazers highlights over here. That's right where Jonathan Kuminga would have fit in. It's not like they didn't try to address the position, and obviously you would love to have him right now. You'd see how he'd be able to spread his wings and get a little bit more opportunity. But so it wasn't for a lack of trying, but I get not going all in on, hey, we need to shore up all our weaknesses this season, because I honestly don't think that it's about how far can we get this season. This year's about setting that identity in place. And when you're saying that that's your focus more than winning games, I think you're kind of, saying where you think you're at this year.
Yeah, when it comes to...
Not that they don't want to win games, obviously.
Right. When it comes to where this thing could go, do you think if they are 9-10 in January that they'll stay there? Or do you think 9-10 in January, do you think Scott Perry will say it's time to blow this thing up?
I think, if you look at what he did after coming into New York, and it's a little hard to differentiate what's him versus Leon Rose, right? But they reset a lot of that. And I would imagine that if you're in that 9-10 spot, and even if you're not, unless you're, 5-6 or something like that, I think that I would not be surprised if Zach, DeMar were on the table, when it comes to trade conversations.
Brandon, if they are firmly 7-8, look at me, bro.
I just think you're still at least fielding calls. So this is where it gets tough, right?
I'm not going to say it, but 7-8, they would be motivated to stay there. Think about the T-shirts.
No, for sure.
You got 2 chances at the T-shirts.
No, for sure. You want to be able to make the postseason. You want that revenue from postseason. I get it, and that's where, the question comes into place of, everybody saying Scott has full autonomy to do whatever he wants, and I think that's where we're going to find out, right, is... Because it wouldn't surprise me. In my mind, a general manager is like, hey, we do need to retool the top of this roster. I feel like that has been the tone here, and that's what I'm expecting over time. And so, maybe it's easier to pitch like, hey, we look good right now, but what's this going to look like in 2 years? We're going to lose, say, Zach after the following season as well. This may be the peak of his trade value. If they're playing well, that may mean that some other team is like, hey, look how Zach's playing right now.
Brandon, if they are in the 7-8 and they blew it up, people would lose.
I don't think they would do all of it. They wouldn't blow up. They wouldn't trade everybody. But I'm just saying, you take the calls. And more so with DeMar and Zach, I would say. Maybe Domas is thrown in there. Malik for sure. But I'm just saying that you definitely field calls throughout the course of the season, no matter how that goes. And again, if they play well, that may also just be that helps the trade value of some of these guys. And not that they're just looked at as assets. There's a way for sure that they keep the team together. But I would be very surprised if they weren't at least exploring those options throughout the course of this year.
Well, I think a big part of that is if you're Scott Perry and you're trying to argue to blow it up, you would say to your boss, let's think about it like this. We needed Zach LaVine to be a 50, 40, 90 guy, Domantas Sabonis to be back on the MVP ladder, Malik Monk to be back in the 6-man conversation, DeMar DeRozan to turn back the clock.
Most improved Keegan, maybe.
Right. Keegan most improved, and we're the 8. Yeah. This is it. This is the best it's going to get. And then the question becomes, well, I want the good people of Sacramento to be able to cash in on that, or do you cash in a different way and say there's going to be a team, as we yesterday we were talking and the conversation came up to, hey, we're going to trade for Zach LaVine. We're going to convince him to opt out, give him a 3-year deal at a lower AAV.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Because he's balling out with Keith Smith. So I'm telling you, bro, if they are 7 or 8, it's not happening.
I will say I guess what I'll clarify is I don't think blowing it up, trading the dudes means like, hey, we're trying to get an expiring deal and draft picks. I imagine that, hey, we're talking, and these are the names I keep throwing out. I'm sure there are other ones as well. But, is a Rob Dillingham, is a Reed Shepherd, is an Anthony Black on the table? Like, I don't imagine that they would just ship the guys off just to get rid of the salary. I think of it more as like it just starting that retool that we expect in the offseason and the offseason after to just start a little bit sooner, right? Where the Jonathan Kuminga deal, like maybe that's what we end up talking about, and say Zach somehow makes sense for the Warriors. I don't expect that to be the case, but like I think they would be bringing back another younger player that can still contribute to this team already. And that does help with, putting butts in seats and getting some excitement about the second half of the season. Like, I don't think it's blow it up in the way of, hey, we want matching salary and draft picks. We're trying to be as bad as possible this season. I think it's just we're trying to get a little bit younger and still bring in guys. That second draft idea.
Yeah, second draft, the hybrid tank where you're developing some guys and you say, okay,
Emmanuel
cool.
quickly.
Right, we got somebody, and I know RJ Barrett's name has come up. Do you have a name? Let's just go dream world here. Do you have a second draft dream pick that the Kings could get throughout the season? Do you have somebody that, hey, if they could get so-and-so, that'd be nice?
Yeah, I mean, just to poke a jab at you, I want to say Deshaun Salon, but I'm not going to go there. Yeah, I mean,
they might decline his third-year option.
He might be very available.
He's going to be on the G League in 2 years.
Man, no, honestly, I will be there.
Stockton.
I will get the jersey. I will.
You should.
It is hilarious that all of your guys end up being just the worst prospects.
That's not necessarily true.
Crazy.
Brendan, please.
That's crazy.
Spencer
I mean, I kind of said the names already, but I'm a big Anthony Black guy. Like, I worry about the shooting a little bit for sure, but that jumbo guard, I think, is becoming more prominent in today's NBA, and you obviously see the value in that. I think that Orlando's a team that has made sense as a trade partner in the past. I know they just went out and spent some assets, damn near all their assets on Desmond Bane, but I think there's something there in what he can do as a very true point guard, very true to the definition of that role and facilitating everything. Good finisher around the rim, great playmaker. So he's a guy that I definitely would be keeping tabs on for sure.
We definitely will continue to do that. Brendan Nunes, thank you so much for joining us, my guy. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you.
On the other side, like I said, the extravaganza continues. We will be joined by Sean Cunningham of KCRA to continue to talk Russell Westbrook and what this means for the Kings 2025-2026 NBA season. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Thunder, feel the thunder. It's the energy all around you. Lightning and the thunder. The thrill of the moments to come. The flash of lights, the rush of pure exhilaration, the roar of the crowd. See it, hear it, feel it. Feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder. Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's TREX.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Stockton 99 Speedway, Saturday, October 18th. It's championship night. Late models, modified, sprint cars, and the insane trailer racing. Plus a huge fireworks show to light up the sky. Tickets start at just $20. Don't miss the season finale. Stockton99.com.
Listen to the 49ers Red Zone Report daily, brought to you by Mountain Mike's Pizza, the official pizza of the 49ers. Mountain Mike's Pizza, pizza the way it ought to be.
A men's health moment with Revive Men's Health. Low testosterone doesn't just drain your energy, it can change how you feel about yourself. Revive Men's Health uses advanced lab testing and proven treatments to help guys feel stronger and more confident. Learn more at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
What's going on? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Tell me, Chad, what's happening for the Drive Into Fall event?
There's still time to get some adventure in when you save up to $8,600 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Willys. I love how these modern Jeep Wrangler Willys are filled with the latest and greatest tech and comforts, yet pay homage to the iconic past of the Jeep with huge off-road capability, distinctive exterior styling, and special interiors you will love.
Man, you make it sound like you're buying a modern-day piece of history.
It's It's true. Once you get into one of the Willies, you won't want to get out. But whatever you're looking for, you can find it at Hoblet. Check out our certified pre-owned supercenter with nearly 200 vehicles available and over 50 under $20,000.
Whatever you need, it's at Hoblet right now. Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$8,600 toll net savings on select new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Willys after $4,000 factor rebates and $4,600 dealer discounts. Rebates include $500 first responder bonus cash for eligible first responders. 3 of this net savings. Sample VIN 608744. See dealer for details.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sactown Sports.
We keep rolling on. Joined by, and look, everybody is running around, so I really appreciate them hopping on with little old me with the free time that they have. And we are joined by, honestly, my guy. And let me just say, okay, I didn't know Sean Cunningham that well before Summer League. But
Sean Cunningham. Who?
We got to spend some time in Vegas together. And Sean and I, look, man, Sean, you're my guy. First time on the show since we kicked it in Vegas. How you doing, dude? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I know life has changed for you a little bit since that faithful trip in Vegas back in July. But yeah, man, don't have to be in Vegas to hang out, bro.
Hey, trust me. Once I break free, I'm back out here. Okay, do not worry, Sean. All right, she just turned a month, so I'm getting closer and closer. We got through the month, so we're good now. All right.
Hey, I get it. I mean, you're all role models for me. You show me what not to do. So I admire you guys. I admire you people who can hold down the fort and family at the same time. So keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, thank you, Sean. This is Sean Cunningham of KCRA. Sean, we've been talking to a ton of people today, and I want to give you kind of a different line of questioning a little bit. Sam Amick put out an article earlier today about the decision to sign Russell Westbrook. Obviously, they've talked about it all season long. But one thing that stuck out to me that Sean Amick said, or that Sam Amick said, was that training camp. Right now, I know media can only see certain parts of training camp, but basically the backup point guard position was glaring during training camp. Do you have any information on that, or when you were able to get in, or anybody that you talked to? Because I'm just curious how bad it got, or is it more of just not an excuse, but clearly they were interested in Russell Westbrook anyway. We've been hearing it all summer long.
Well, I think I haven't read Sam's article yet, but I think for me and at least people I've talked to, I haven't heard necessarily that it was glaring. I know that there's been certainly concerns about backup point guard minutes and what that could look like for this team going forward. I mean, obviously we know that there's kind of an imbalance there. They have a lot of guards. Is there guards that they would ultimately like to sacrifice to add some other needs to this team? For sure. But, wanting something and doing something is completely different. So with the mix of talent that they have, I think what stood out was, regardless of what preseason looks like and what training camp has looked like in terms of those backup point guard minutes, I think the thing that, when it comes to Russell Westbrook having fans within the organization, I think there's fans with him on the roster too. I mean, it's pretty well documented. I mean, you've got guys with experience with him. DeMar DeRozan, obviously, having a ton of experience with him in, being an LA guy. Zach LaVine kind of that way as well, spending so much, time in LA as well. And then, former teammates. I mean, Dennis Schroeder will be a third-time teammate with Russell Westbrook, having played with him on the Thunder and the Lakers, and of course Domas as well, who's played with him in the Thunder when he was, back when he was a rookie before he moved on to Indiana. So there's a lot of familiarity there. I think what's really going to be valued there is somebody who has that veteran, been there, done that presence at the point guard position, as opposed to, someone like Malik Monk, who has to essentially learn the position, and I think has done a a fantastic job of doing whatever's asked of him. And Devin Carter, who's also trying to adapt to a role. You've got a guy who just knows how to play the game despite being 37 years old. So, his accolades speak for themselves, and certainly he's not the perfect player, and it may not make a lot of sense in terms of how many guards are on this team currently. But as you know, Alan, the NBA landscape can change very, very quickly, and it might make a little bit more sense should they make a move here in the coming days, weeks, months ahead. It's never a finished product, as we know. So, we can all pick it apart, but you can at least see some of the things that they would like. And I think when you have management, maybe coaching, and as well as some players ringing that bell to bring in a guy who's going to be joining his seventh team in 8 seasons, clearly a lot of these teams that add Russell Westbrook aren't these rebuilding type teams. They're teams that are trying to do something in the playoffs and be able to add a piece to add to their success. So from that standpoint, I can see it. My personal feelings is, it may not make a lot of sense right now, but weeks, months down the road, it might make a little bit more sense. But we'll have that part remains to be seen.
Talking to Sean Cunningham. And Sean, you're doing a little bit of alluding here. That's why I love having you on the show. You always give us just enough breadcrumbs here. And my thought process is this, Sean. We talked to Malik Monk during media day, and he was very open, as he always is, very transparent, always a great interview. And he felt as if, and I know you just mentioned the whole thing about the backup PG being a little bit overstated, because he felt like, hey, I'm not a pure point guard, but I can still handle the rock a little bit. Malik Monk wakes up today, and obviously this had been talked about for a bit. Malik Monk wakes up today, and we'll talk about the younger guys too, but he wakes up today, and what are his feelings on them bringing in yet another guard who is, I'm not going to say demand playing time. He's on a minimum deal, but they clearly are very high on him, and the new regime brought him in, whereas Malik Monk was, a part of the team with the old regime. How's Malik feeling this morning?
Well, I haven't talked to him, but I would imagine Malik woke up, looked at his phone, and shrugged. I don't think that anything's catching Malik Monk off guard when it comes to the Kings signing Russell Westbrook. I mean, as we just laid out, this thing's been going on for quite some time, and I think one of the things that Malik has been very open and complimentary about is the fact that Scott Perry has been very transparent in what he expects and sees of Malik, and says he'll be in contact with him in terms of if he told him, like, if he wasn't gonna, I think he had shared a story about his agent saying, hey, this is back in the off season where if nothing happened on this day, then nothing would happen going forward.
Right.
Excuse me. And so Malik I think, looks at it and still sees a place on the team. I think the one that feels a little bit differently would be guys like Keon Ellis and possibly Devin Carter as potential for what their roles look like going forward. Now, the team did pick up the third-year option on Devin Carter just yesterday, but that's really more of a formality, because whether he's in Sacramento or on another team, you want that flexibility, and you want to make sure that you have that third-year option. I think if you want to keep him away from free agency, whether you're keeping him a part of your team or you're just essentially looking at him as an asset, right? So I don't think today's move makes Malik Monk feel any type of way about his future in Sacramento necessarily. I think they all look at it and say, okay, if I'm Malik, I'm looking at it and say, okay, you don't need me to be a strictly point guard. I can go back to being my playmaking two-guard kind of self. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean for other guys? That remains to be seen. But I think, I don't think that there's going to be if any move is to happen regarding Malik Monk, I don't think he's going to be caught off guard by it. I think the organization will be very upfront and let him know. But I personally don't think that that's going to happen.
Talking to Sean Cunningham of KCRA. Sean, could this actually work? We talked yesterday, and we've been reading different articles, what's the one thing that could ruin each team's season. And I've been trying to talk myself into it. I'm not really high on the Grizzlies and certain teams out there. Is there a world where they could get to the 8 seed? Do you see that? And we can get the XXXL t-shirts and get the playoff revenue. Is there a world where you see them even getting to the 8 seed, or am I on the Looney Tunes stuff?
It's such a loaded question, man. Like, yeah, I wouldn't bet on it necessarily, but I think even without even adding Russell Westbrook, I think this team is talented enough to be able to contend for the 8th seed, maybe even the 7th seed, depending on how the West goes. Now, a lot would have to go right there.
Right.
And again, I'm not necessarily betting on it, but I think this team is talented enough to win games. I think they're talented enough to, the thought being, get into a playoff matchup and be able to be disruptive, be able to create problems. I mean, you have a ton of talent all over this roster. With the right tinkering in the season, you might, it wouldn't take much to make this team very, very competitive. But I think I think a lot has to go right. First of all, health, and all of a sudden they're behind the 8 ball with losing Keegan Murray for the next 4 to 6 weeks, at minimum for the first 10 games of the season. He's probably, maybe next to Domantas Sabonis, the most irreplaceable on the roster in terms of how this roster is built currently. But, as long as you have the fortune of health and you have the ability to score the basketball, you kind of, I think a lot can go right for this team. But again, doing it and betting on it is completely different. I still think that it wouldn't be my choice. I wouldn't bet on it necessarily. But I don't think this team is going to be abysmal either. I think it's going to, if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, I would think anywhere from 38 to 42 wins. That can mean a whole 5 different positions in the West, from maybe as high as 7 to down to low as 10 or 11. So that all remains to be seen. But certainly, I feel like this team is talented enough to be able to do it. Can it all come together? Sure, it can. Could it all fall apart? Absolutely. But I think, again, if they are talented enough to be, and competitive enough to be able to put together a team that can hover around what you're talking about, that 8th seed, 10th, 9, 10, 11, whatever that ends up being, I think they're talented enough to do that.
Sean Cunningham covers the Kings and sports for KCRA. Sean, before we get you out of here, just because you brought up those amount of games, right, that stretch between, 36 and 40, whatever the case may be, let's say they do end up, as you've said and as they've been before, that 9-10, right? Maybe not 7-8, but 9-10. Based on your vibe and just how you understand the team, I know you were on, last week or maybe a couple weeks ago, you talked about possibly blowing this thing up. Do you think that there is a timer on this team? And I guess if they were 9-10 and they're up against the trade deadline, what do you think they would do? Do you think that they would try to power through and say, no, all we got to do is get hot and we can catch the 8th seed? Or would they say, hey, we're 9-10, we've been here before, there's some guys that have a little bit more value with some other teams that are trying to make a push, let's just say uncle and move forward?
Yeah, I mean, the feel I get, and again, it's a question that's probably obviously better asked for Scott Perry and Vivek Ranadive for sure, but the feeling that I get in conversations that I've had for the greater part of the past 2 years is they're going to do everything in their power to remain competitive and see it through, right? So I don't think there's an appetite with this group to blow it up, to do any sort of rebuild. Now, if things go, if you're looking at, a really abysmal record coming into the trade deadline, or maybe even before that, decisions that might accelerate some things or change maybe the calculus and what they're thinking in terms of their future. But I just don't think that they're built to try to blow it up and try to rebuild. I think it's much like, I think the vision will be similar to what you had heard from Monty McNair before, which was to rebuild the roster, be able to compete, to maybe tinker a little bit, but I don't think they're looking at taking steps backwards. Now, that being said, adding somebody like Russell Westbrook kind of proves that a little bit. Trying to add somebody, Russell Westbrook's not trying to go to a team where he's, going to a rebuilding situation. Obviously, it's a 1-year minimum deal, so If it doesn't work this year, maybe they revisit that in the summertime. But I think everything is leading up to 2027. If you look at kind of how their books are constructed from a salary cap and contractual situation, a lot of the money that's on this team hits a cliff in 2027. So I think the organization feels that it owes it to this fan base and to some of the pieces that they've added to this team to see it through. And it doesn't take a whole lot to be able to change things rather quickly. But again, that belief in actually being able to do something, it gets harder. I think there's a lot of teams that are going to be looking to get off of bloated contracts, and maybe the Kings can be the beneficiary of that. Certainly they've got a cupboard full of draft picks and assets that they have at their disposal. I don't think but the long-winded answer there, Alan, is I just don't think that there's an appetite to rebuild and to do that quite yet. And so while a lot of teams, people recognize that to do that and build through the draft is probably the biggest recipe for success to be able to build off of. Certainly the draft. I mean, just look at your history. The draft, when they have done that, hasn't been kind to Sacramento. I mean, you have to hit on draft picks, and even when they've had a wealth of them and top 5 picks and all that thing, it doesn't mean it always works. So they've tried a lot of things under since Vivek Ranadive has been an owner of this team. And make no mistake, I mean, when the Kings stayed here, the goal was that, I mean, they were doing so because of a fan base that supports them, both from a business standpoint and from a fan standpoint. And personally, as someone who's grown up in the city, I think there are those that would support a rebuild that way. But I also know a lot of people that won't support it. And typically, what I find, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, is that a lot of fans that say that they think that's, hey, go ahead, hit the and start over, go young, do all these things, are typically people that watch TV and watch the Kings. They don't pay to go to games. So it's easier said than done for sure. It probably gives you the best chance for your success and for your future, but there's no guarantees. And so when you've got contractual obligations to the likes of Domantas Sabonis, you're thinking of, having an extension here for Keegan Murray in his future. You brought in pieces to be able to contend and to be able to add, and it hasn't worked yet. But that doesn't mean you throw your hands up after a couple of years and hit the reset button. But I don't feel that they're close to doing that quite yet.
Sean Cunningham, that last answer, we are going to cut that up, Sean, and it is going to get posted because that is great stuff, man. Really, really appreciate it. I'm a bit surprised at what you said there. And Sean, all I got to say, just don't touch the 2026 draft pick. That's it. Sean, I need the good Boozer twin. I need Darren Peterson. I need AJ DeBansa. That's the only thing I have to say, Sean. They want to move on from other assets, cool. But I need my 2026 pick. We've been talking about it for a very long time here on this show.
Wow. Well, I mean, I remember a time, and everyone being excited over Marvin Bagley. It didn't work out too well. People being excited over Josh Jackson. I was one of them. I know he wasn't on the Kings until he was practically out of the league, but a lot of top 5 picks who didn't quite work out. So, I wouldn't say in my mind that 2020 draft pick is completely off the table because, what if that lands you, hypothetically, Giannis Antetokounmpo? Not to say that would happen, but that's certainly something that would change my mind as to the way I look at the 2026 first-round pick.
That certainly would. And, Sean, you're over the phone, but I got quite the grin going on here. Great stuff from Sean Cunningham, who covers the Kings and sports in general in Sacramento for KCRA. Sean, all right, don't worry. I'm going to talk to my real boss, okay, my wife. I'm going to get the green light. You're going to take me out on the town. Okay, and I'm going to get the full Sean Cunningham experience, okay?
Lucky you. Get that babysitter.
I will. Sean Cunningham, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, man.
You got it, buddy. Thanks.
That was great stuff from Sean Cunningham. When we return, I'm starting to understand why some Kings fans might be upset, not because they want to tank, because they want the Kings to get better. Let's discuss when we return. Now on Sactown Sports.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
With Progressive, you can reach customer service in the way that's easiest for you, by phone, app, or online. We know it would be great if we just magically appeared, but that's more of a genie thing, and we do insurance. But with us, you'd be like, well, it wasn't a genie, but it was great customer service, so that's nice. And sure, you probably would still like the whole 3 wishes thing, so if you meet a genie, you should definitely ask. But when you need us, contact Progressive by phone, app, or online. Just no genies. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I'm opening my own coffee shop.
I smell a caffeinated catastrophe.
And I needed menu boards and banners printed.
What you really needed was a reality check.
Staples really came through. They printed menus and signs, even flyers in time for my grand opening.
And that's when the other shoe dropped.
Not quite. I got $125 off my custom print order.
Cha-ching! For your business printing, Staples.
That was easy.
Now save up to $125 on custom print orders. Valid in-store and online until 11/1. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Everyone has a past, but what happens if you've made mistakes and made good on that past, but it keeps following you? Are you looking for an attorney to erase past records and restore your rights? Maybe even restore your gun rights? Do you need a reputable criminal defense attorney who knows even good people make bad mistakes? Well, the attorneys at Gonzalez Law Office are here to help. Find Gonzalez Law Office online at saclegaldefense.com or call them at 916-304-9187. We don't settle for less, and neither should you.
The deals are on now at the model year-end sales event at Balsam Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save on year-end models and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop. Sacramento. Buckle up. Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet is dropping one day of insane DeWalt deals on October 18th. Bare tools, batteries, and kits will be at insanely low prices. Spend $1,000 on DeWalt products and get $75 off your order instantly. Spend $100 and get a lotto scratcher with prizes up to $1,000 off your next order. That's one day only. October 18th at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Better tools, better prices.
The statewide special election is November 4th. All registered voters will receive their ballot in the mail. Check to make sure you're registered correctly at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 800-762-8019.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Somebody on the Sac chat asked, did they miss Ryan Blackburn of Mile High Sports and Locked On Nuggets? You did not. He joins us in about 9 minutes, so you do not want to miss what he has to say. And yes, he is going to help us from the standpoint of he was in Denver. What the heck happened out there, and why didn't Russell Westbrook pick up his option? Right? What happened there? Okay, but real quick, I started out this show when we were talking about obviously Russell Westbrook, and I think fans were just a bit confused as to how to feel. And at first, I was confused. And I said that. I was confused because if you think the team is going to be worse, hey, that puts the Kings in a better spot. After talking to Sean Cunningham, who, number one, said, I still don't think there's an appetite to blow it up, which I thought we're going to spend some time on that tomorrow. Because I found that to be very fascinating coming from Sean, even though Monty McNair is gone, his vision lives on, or maybe it wasn't his vision. But with that being said, and I'll have to talk to Carmichael Dave about this tomorrow as well, but those that are maybe upset, you're upset because, and I think it took me a while to understand this, but those that are upset, some of you are upset because you wanted to get better. Because you maybe were okay with moving off of a first rounder to go get somebody that not only could back up Keegan Murray, but could take this team to the next level. You don't want to stink. You don't want to be mediocre. And I think at first, I wasn't really sure where the anger was coming from. And maybe you weren't either. Right? Maybe it's just, why are we getting this guy? My thought was, hey, either it's going to work out or it's not. But from the standpoint of, well, I want this team to make sense. Allen, you talk about this team possibly making the 8th seed. I want to put him in a better position to make the 8th seed. And talking to Sean and saying, when he talks to fans around the area and how nobody, not that many people want to blow it up, I more so understand why a move for Russell Westbrook might upset you, because you wanted to maybe move a 2028 draft pick and go get John Collins. You wanted to do stuff like that. Now, when we throw out names, a lot of y'all say no to everyone, which is just what fans do. We don't want Trae Young. We don't want Darius Garland. We don't want John Moran. We don't want John Collins. And I don't know what you want or who you want. But over the course of listening to a lot of the different people we've had on the show and taking some of your calls, I more so understand that this isn't about the team being bad in the future. This is more so about, I wanted them to maybe give up some future pieces and actually make this team better. And I just think it's really hard to do that. And I'm not of the mindset of moving off of young capital to do that, but I understand if you were upset because you would have rather gone in that direction.
I think it's one of those where you needed the right player too. I mean, they tried to go after Kuminga, and that would have only solved one piece of the puzzle, but if they had let's say that the Kuminga trade happens, if you now have a roster of Keegan, Kuminga, we assume they would move DeRozan to the bench or just move DeRozan in general. They would have Kuminga, Keegan, Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, and now you bring in Russell Westbrook. It's like, okay, now you're playing for the present and for the future. But right now it feels like they're just playing for the present kind of at the expense of the future in certain ways. Yeah. Because like we said earlier, Westbrook is going to probably help you on offense, but what does that do if it means Neek Clifford isn't going to find minutes, or Devin Carter isn't going to find minutes, or Keon Ellis's role is about to change? What does that look like?
That's what's funny too, and I know I got in trouble for this, and he is a younger player on the team, but if you were planning on bringing in Russell Westbrook, and I will say it again only because Kyle brought up how his role might change. If you knew you wanted to bring in Russell Westbrook, and this guy could hit unrestricted free agency, even if it's a safe bet, I still don't understand the Keon Ellis being untouchable for Kuminga thing. I still don't understand that. Because if you were going to bring Russell Westbrook in anyway, who could take some of Keon's minutes, why wouldn't you just move when Keon has pretty... Now, I don't know if the Warriors would have said yes, but why not just do that? We didn't understand it before. I understand it less now that they brought in another guard.
I think because of they're committed to the veteran thing, right? What message does that send to DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis, Schroeder, guys like that, if you're bringing in Kuminga in exchange for Monk and Ellis, and we're just trying to get younger kind of situation?
Yeah, I guess in my mind it would have been Ellis in a first, but I guess the money would have had to work, so you're right. Would have had to been Monk. I know, look, coulda, woulda, shoulda, who knows, but we are where we are now, and where we are at now is with Russell Westbrook on the Kings roster. And someone that knows Russell Westbrook as a 36-year-old fairly well is Ryan Blackburn, who covers the Nuggets for Mile High Sports and Locked On Nuggets. We talked to Ryan about Russell's time in Denver and what went right and what went wrong when we return to kick off the 1 o'clock hour. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Not all rooftops are created equal. Revival at the Sawyer isn't just above the city, it's above the rest. Think DJs, live beats, a crowd that's always in the know, and views that make Golden One Center look like it's in your backyard. It's the rooftop Sacramento can't stop talking about. Revival, an experience that's anything but ordinary. Whether it's game night, date night, or just your night, Revival is where memories get made and the city feels alive. One rooftop, endless stories. Book your reservation at revivalsacramento.com.
When I was a kid, I remember my dad, a lineman, leaving in the middle of the night. Families were depending on him to get their power back on to keep them safe and warm. Watching him taught me that this work isn't just about wires and circuits. It's about people and the trust they place in us when the lights go out. That's why I started Maverick Electric Heating and Air, to carry on that same promise of showing up, doing it right, and protecting families when they need us most. Visit callamaverick.com.
Hey man, gaining weight, dragging throughout the day, losing your drive? It could be your testosterone. The team at Revive Men's Health Sacramento gets men back on track with the energy and drive they've been missing. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations and witness to hundreds of success stories.
I've seen guys come in worn out, discouraged, and just not themselves. A few months into treatment, they're standing taller, speaking with more confidence. It's like watching someone come back to life. Like a light switch gets turned back on. When a spouse says, "Thank you, I really have my partner back, better than before," that's the moment it all clicks for me, and that's why I do what I do.
Since 2011, Revive Men's Health has helped more than 120,000 men regain their energy and drive. Start your story today with an in-clinic visit or a secure video appointment. Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000. Or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Just announced, Stockton Honda has been named #1 of California's best car dealers in 2025 by USA Today and Statista. This prestigious award is based on thousands of customer reviews and recommendations, ranking dealerships for service, value, and satisfaction. Out of hundreds evaluated, Stockton Honda is proud to be #1, recognized for all-around excellence and commitment to our customers. Visit Stockton Honda, where reputation meets the road.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
KHDK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by Malik Monk.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports, 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sactown Sports.
It's been quite the 3 hours. And what better way to kick off the 4th hour of the show than with somebody that we really enjoy having on and we've become familiar with, a little too familiar with, because the Kings, for some odd reason, play the Nuggets, 3 times within the first 20 games, and they probably won't have Keegan Murray for at least the first 2 times this season. Ryan Blackburn joins us, and Ryan, I can't believe now you got to face the Nuggets without Keegan Murray. We know how Aaron Gordon just destroyed the Kings when they didn't have Keegan the last go-round. Ryan covers the Nuggets for Mile High Sports, also co-host of Locked On Nuggets. But, Ryan, you know that Russell Westbrook revenge game is coming at least one time. What's up, Ryan? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, and I know it. I know it from experience because watching Russell Westbrook face the Los Angeles Clippers last year was a spiritual experience. It was a very clear difference in terms of how he faced everybody except the Lakers from a week-to-week kind of day-to-day basis. He holds, and like, this is a good thing. Like, this is the attitude that you want to see him bring to those kinds of games. You like to see guys play with edge. That dude plays with a level of edge against teams that he feels like he's been wronged by. I don't know if he's going to feel like he's been wronged by Denver. We'll just have to see. But it was quite an awesome experience in that first round series with Russ playing out of his mind.
Well, let's start here, Ryan, talking to Ryan Blackburn of Mile High Sports and Locked On Nuggets. He had a player option, right? He had a player option, and it took him this long to get signed, even though he was rumored to be with the Kings basically all offseason as soon as free agency started. Why do you think he opted out of the player option with not a lot of other interests around the league?
I think the experience with Denver, especially towards the end of the year, it was tumultuous, to say the least. It's not just a Russell Westbrook thing. This was a Michael Malone and Calvin Booth kind of thing, and those guys got fired right at the end of the year to sort of reshape what the Nuggets organization was going to be. And so I can understand from Russ's perspective, not necessarily sure if that's the right spot, not necessarily like they want to continue to develop their young guys. They want to continue, like, they're going to have very high expectations. There was not Russ's fault or anything like that, but there was some friction in the locker room throughout the regular season and into the playoffs in terms of just the overall acceptance of what they needed to be and the accountability that they had to have. They didn't really have it last year. And I got to imagine he just wanted to have his options open. And I figured his market, given the way that he played, like, he averaged great numbers.
Yeah.
Figured the way that he played, you would expect a guy like that to command more than a minimum contract. And so I wonder if his representation thought the same thing. I wonder if he thought the same thing. Now, the Nuggets were not going to be able to give that to him because they had other financial constraints. But I can understand why he considered that as a possibility for himself.
Talking to Ryan Blackburn of Locked On Nuggets and Mile High Sports. So, as far as that's concerned and how it went, specifically, though, that Ramona Shelburne article that came out, I think the Nuggets had just won the first round. What was your take on what went down? Then Aaron Gordon came out, kind of defended Russ. What was going on at that moment where Ramona felt like this needs to be reported on? And I guess what is the warning to what could happen in Sacramento based on Russ's temperament, if you will?
Well, Russ is fiery. Russ is somebody who has done things his way unapologetically for 17 years in the league. He's about to go into year 18 and has been a superstar for the entire time, has earned the respect of everybody around the league as a result of it. He is also universally considered a great teammate. So this is not a concern about his ability to impact the locker room or anything like that. He is a relatively high maintenance guy. And when the Nuggets are struggling with various rotations and turnovers and defensive miscues and overall roles and things like that, I think there was a level of buy-in that was needed from everybody, including Russ, including the accountability that needed to happen across the board, not just with him, that the Nuggets needed to address. And so, yeah, that did happen. What Ramona Shelburne reported, it did happen. There was a call it a disagreement between veterans in a very high leverage situation. It was that's how it goes, man. Like it's how NBA locker rooms are supposed to be. I don't think anybody really thought anything of it. It was something that's ultimately they moved past and were able to be very successful. Like because it happened that what she reported on Ramona did. It was in the first round. It was in the first round after game 2 of the first round series, and then that article dropped in the second round, which I think is one of the reasons why it got so much pushback from people. The timing of everything, but it did happen, and there was a lot of stress about it, and I can understand why everybody was mad at that point, and they're all moved on, and hopefully they're happier.
Talking to Ryan Blackburn of Locked On Nuggets and Mile High Sports. Ryan, do you think it's something when it comes to, I guess, culture, if you will, or old school versus new school? Michael Malone saying nobody wants to watch film. I know the Kings have some veterans on that team, so maybe it'll work out a little bit better. But do you think that was part of it? I guess, for lack of a better term, culture, or just the idea of that's not how I've done things, and Russ being on his 17th season working with, I mean, I got a nephew who's, 10 years younger than me. Half the stuff he says, I don't even know what the heck he's talking about. Do you think that was maybe part of the issue in Denver when there was an issue? Not to say there was an issue the whole time, but when there was an issue?
Kyle Speller, the Nuggets PA announcer in the game last night, made a 6-7 reference, and half of the entirety of the arena kids were doing 6-7, and everybody else had no idea what they were talking about. So I understand there's a generational gap in the NBA just as much as there is in the real world. And,
yes.
Russ is part of the old guard. He is. And there's a lot of people that are part of the old guard. DeMar DeRozan is a noted old guard player at this point in his career. Zach LaVine's an elder statesman. There are some other guys on the Kings that are going to be they're going to receive Russ really well in terms of the energy that he provides, the style that he plays. It's going to be interesting to see how it all works out. I do think that was probably less of it from a Nuggets perspective. I think there was a lot going on behind the scenes for Denver in terms of, there's a reason why the defense wasn't that good. It's because the effort wasn't high enough, and it was because the attention to detail wasn't high enough. And that's where Michael Malone really has to pick and choose one or the other. Like, he's already played the effort button on multiple times.
Yeah.
Effort has not been good enough. And so that was the next thing that he went to was, hey, guys aren't watching enough film and staying appraised of what they're supposed to be doing, because those are the championship habits that a team is supposed to be building. Denver wasn't building that last year.
Talking to Ryan Blackburn of Locked On Nuggets, also Mile High Sports. All right, Ryan, let's talk about the X's and O's. Russell Westbrook, he did help the Nuggets win some games as well as the other side of it, but let's keep it positive for now. How can Russell Westbrook help this Kings team be better and maybe scratch that 8 seed, whatever the case may be? How has Russell Westbrook maybe evolved his game? How did he help the Nuggets, and how do you think he can help the Kings?
Strong facilitator. He's a guy who can assume a lot of ball handling responsibility for a team. He will set the table for Domantas Sabonis extremely well throughout the year. That's going to be a duo that you guys are going to love. Same way that Jokic and Russell Westbrook were able to be one of the prime duos in the NBA last year. I think Russell Westbrook and Domantas Sabonis will have a really good connection. Russ does a great job of changing his pace and sometimes going at 1,000,000 miles per hour and sometimes slowing it down and being a little bit more methodical. He's gotten a little bit better at that as his career has aged. I do think that he's an underrated defender. There are some times where he will make hazardous mistakes, but there are times where he will make game-changing and game-saving plays.
Yeah.
And just having another guy in the rotation that can do that is extremely valuable for a team. He will probably clash style-wise at various points with some of the ball handling that the Kings already have. They already brought in Dennis Schroeder, but Dennis Schroeder can play off ball. He can shoot. He doesn't need to play with the ball in his hands all the time. Russell Westbrook also, by the way, doesn't need to play with the ball in his hands all the time. He did break or he tore some ligaments in his shooting hand.
Yeah.
During the playoffs, and that was one of the reasons why the shooting fell off, especially towards that second round. So he has improved as a standstill catch and shoot guy. That is something that if he can get some open shots, the corners are his friend. He shot above 40% from the corners in the regular season, I'm pretty sure. So they're the spacing concerns are probably a little bit overrated. I will say if you play too many small guys, the defense overall will probably suffer, but Russ can make up for that with some athleticism and hustle.
Yeah, would it be a stretch, Ryan? And I'm just you can say no, okay? I'm not trying to talk you into it, but would it be a stretch to say that Russ might be able to spend some time at the 3, either offensively or defensively?
It would not be a stretch. It's something that he did a little bit more with the Clippers than he did with the Nuggets specifically. Denver had a real lack of ball handling depth on their team last year, and so he was always at the 1 or the 2. Mostly it was the 1 because Jamal Murray could easily slide over to the 2 guard. It's something that he did in college. But I to your point, like there's going to be a lot of smaller guards in Sacramento, including Dennis Schroeder and Zach LaVine. You would ideally want somebody like Russell Westbrook to be able to guard some of those tougher assignments. I don't think that's something that you're going to want to see happen every game. It's probably more of an as-needed basis, because if you force Russ to do that for an entire season, he's going to wear down, he's going to get tired, and then the rest of the game will suffer. But I do think that it's something like he is very capable to surprise, to be an athletic kind of havoc wrecker of teams on both ends of the floor. And the best laid plans for an opposing defense and opposing offense might be completely destroyed by Russell Westbrook just getting to his spot or getting under the skin of another player on the opposing end. So like there's plenty of opportunity for him to be successful. I hesitate to say it will definitely happen because there's so many rotation questions that you have to answer, of course.
Yeah.
But like no time like the present to get it going.
Ryan Blackburn, thank you so much for joining us. You can check out Ryan's work on Mile High Sports. He's also the host of Locked On Nuggets. Ryan, one more before I get you out of here. Do you think there is he played 27 minutes on the Nuggets, which is crazy. And obviously that caused some clashes and people got fired, and that wasn't necessarily the plan, I don't think, when the Nuggets signed him. But do you think there is a minimum amount of minutes that will keep Russ happy? Because I've approached it saying, look, he's on a minimum deal, right? And obviously the Kings, it's come out, Sam Amick said they've had some trouble at the backup point guard position, and there's been also conversations as to whether it's overstated or not. We'll see. But if one of these guys, if Keon Ellis said, hey, Russ, good for you, but I'm not giving up that spot, he takes a leap, or dare I say a Devin Carter, who they just picked up his option, is there a minimum amount of minutes where if Russ is, doing the Chris Paul mentor thing, getting 7 minutes a night or 10 minutes a night, something like that, could it get a little bit spicy? Do you think, Allen, he needs to get his 15 to 17 after averaging 27, or this thing could get a little bit squirrely?
And I was going to say 20 was the threshold that you probably have to get over. That's going to be challenging for a team that's as loaded in the backcourt as the Kings are. It's tough because even I think the role that he played with the Clippers was about the same in terms of the minutes per game load that he was playing, whether it was as a starter or as a bench player.
Right.
He was doing a lot. With the Nuggets, he was doing a lot, despite the fact that it's almost more about the opportunities within those minutes that are you want to get a certain amount of shots. You want to have the ball in your hand. Like if you force Russ to play 15 minutes per game as your shooting guard backup or as your small forward backup, and he doesn't get to play point guard ever again, that could be a problem. That could be very concerning for a team that's trying to stabilize things and wants to as a lot of different agendas and things that are pulling in different directions. You want to make sure that doesn't upset the apple cart. I'm curious to see how it works out, Alan. I think that this is going to be a really fascinating kind of layer because you've got a lot of guys that have overlapping skill sets. And for that reason, you want guys like Devin Carter, you want guys like Keon Ellis to be able to contribute some of the detail stuff. And I'm curious to see who ends up sacrificing, who ends up taking on a lesser role. Because if it's Russell Westbrook, it is so late in the year that maybe that's fine, but it'll be fascinating to see.
Ryan Blackburn, thank you so much for joining us as always. And look, I love talking to you, Ryan, but unfortunately, the Kings play the Nuggets about 3 times in the first 20 games. So we will probably be talking a decent bit here to kick off the season. Thank you so much. Be sure to check out Ryan on Locked On Nuggets and also check out Mile High Sports as well. We will talk to you soon, Ryan, because we play you so dang much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you once again, Alan. Good to hear from you.
Great stuff from Ryan Blackburn. Man, oh, man. Okay, and that wraps up our Westbrook guest extravaganza. What a time it was. What a time it was. And what we're going to do now, we're going to open back up the phone lines. If you've been rocking with us all 4 hours, if you just got into the car and you just want to give your take, let us know how you're feeling about the Russell Westbrook signing. Kyle, I feel like I haven't talked to you in about 2 hours, but it's for a good reason. No disrespect. We've had a lot of good guests on the show. That's all going to be available to you on YouTube and on the Sactown Sports app. So if you're just getting into your car because you had to take your parakeet to the dentist or whatever the case is, we got you. But Kyle, a lot to just take in. I might have to, during one of my, if I got the late shift tonight with baby number 2, I might have to re-listen to a lot of these interviews because there's just a lot to digest here. But what are your initial thoughts? I had a little bit of reflection going on before we had Ryan on the show, just with how Kings fans might be feeling and trying to navigate all that. I'm trying to navigate some of the negativity that we were hearing to start the show and the pessimism. So I tried to kind of combat that in a way, but I understand if it was based on how people might want the direction of the team to go. I understand why they might feel like that. So how you doing, Kyle? I haven't heard from you in a bit.
Okay, hi. All I had was just jokes at your expense. That's all I've been coming up with
Okay,
here.
if that's how you want to spend your time.
Yeah, I mean, I had jokes, and I missed the first part of Ryan's interview because we were trying to figure out why his audio was so low, so apologies to people who were listening in the car that had to crank it up and crank it down. We were trying to figure that out. But I did pick up the part where he talked about while there were some quote-unquote incidents last year, a lot of the veterans in that Nuggets locker room really went to bat for Russ, whether it was Aaron Gordon, you know, like guys really did go to bat. Like, no, Jokic really wanted him on the team, and Jokic, it was one of his best friends on the team for a lot of the season. So, like, that I think is a good point to bring out. Like, sometimes the perception of like the fans saying this isn't a basketball fit type of situation, sometimes you can weigh that against what the perception is in the locker room and how much of a locker room guy or not guy a player is. And Sean Cunningham talked about that too, kind of near the end of our interview.
Here's Sean Cunningham. Who? I don't know.
And that was, I think, the most articulate answer is like, we don't know what direction it's going to go, but guys like Malik Monk are like, hey, it's, you know, I've known this is going to be the case for months. Glad to have him here. DeMar DeRozan is like, yeah, glad to have Russell Westbrook here type of situation. I think that's kind of the important thing to recognize if they're going to go this veteran, third oldest team in the league type of route with this year's team. It's important to think about like that could be a net positive for the guys in the locker room because Russ is respected. And even those Nuggets guys, as he, you know, from the outside perception, got Michael Malone fired and got benched and everything else, like they did really go to bat for Russ. And that's something important to kind of keep in mind is like the camaraderie of the locker room, especially, you know, Cunningham brought up like for Doug, he's kind of in a prove it situation as a coach too.
Yeah.
Bringing in those guys and having them actually like each other is sometimes just as good as something you're going to bring on the floor.
Yeah, we've talked about the Warriors being part of the unction, the Clippers being a part of the unction, and if you don't know what the unction is, you're probably yourself part of the unction or maybe even a little bit older than the unction. I'm very unk. But we just mean some of the teams that have a lot of older core pieces. And I think with this move, the Kings, I believe they've joined the unction, right?
Yeah.
They're not as old as the Warriors and Clippers, but they have joined the unction for sure.
Yeah, I can't add. Let me see if I can add photos to our new streaming technology, but it's just a meme.
No, just leave it. Just leave. Yeah. No. Just, we got 40 more minutes. We're good.
Yeah, but anyways, it's just the meme of the guys at the unction who are just a bunch of old dudes wearing hats, basically. And it's just a meme where all the uncles are getting together. That is kind of the idea of what the Kings are right now, which is fine. You know, these still are really good players. This is probably still one of the most talented teams the Kings have put forth in the last 20 years. It's just A, in a deep Western Conference, and B, probably not good enough because they only have one All-Star.
Well, I think the issue is it's all about fit, right? And some of it is perception. But the Warriors add Al Horford, who is very old and also very unk. And the Warriors, everybody is praising the Warriors because of fit. Al Horford stretches the floor. He played 20-plus minutes a night with Boston because of, injuries and things like that. So Al Horford is getting praise, and the Warriors are getting praise for adding somebody that fits. Russell Westbrook, and I don't even know who the older player is. Could that have been, would the Kings have gotten maybe a little bit of national praise if they, instead of Russell Westbrook, if they found a way, because he's just rotting in Utah, if they were able to get a Kevin Love? Is that the Al Horford of the Warriors for the Kings? If the Kings went out and got Kevin Love, who can stretch the floor, he can play four for you. I don't know how much of a better job he's doing at this stage in his career guarding some of those ridiculous fours that are out there. But is that the guy? Because that feels like the guy. If you were going to go unction, you should have found a way to work with Danny Ainge and just go get a Kevin Love, who we don't know what he has left in the tank, but at least it's a need and it kind of fits what you would like to do.
I don't know, because the brother can't play defense.
No, he can, but I don't know who is the elder statesman. Who is the elder statesman cheap option that would have made everyone say, okay, that's a smart play by the Kings? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't exist.
No, I don't think it exists because I think we skip past this fact. Like, Russell Westbrook is not a bad player.
No, but I'm just saying it's fit.
Yeah, and again, I think it's just the combination of getting older and deprioritizing young players, I think, has some Kings fans, probably more Kings fans than not, who we're seeing on the text line and calling in, upset about the situation, right? Because if you're gonna win 40, I mean, you said the over-under moved one win since they added Russell Westbrook, but if you're gonna be adding these minimum type players or deep bench guys, I think some people would say you'd rather want to stuff your bench with 23 and 24-year-old second draft guys than you do 37-year-olds or 33-year-old Doug McDermott or guys like that. You'd rather have young guys who maybe this is their last chance in the league instead of old guys where this is maybe their last chance in the league, because at least those young guys could potentially help you down the line.
Daquan Jeffries is a guy who, if you're just joining us, the Kings have been busy today, and they pick him up. He is probably going to be with the G League squad.
Yeah,
and
I think I haven't seen it confirmed, but I think it's an Exhibit 10 contract, which means he's going to go to the G League.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, this is from, this was 3 hours ago, and it literally says it's Stockton Kings. Okay, so they have acquired the returning rights to Daquan Jeffries in a trade with the Westchester Knicks. In exchange, the Knicks receive the returning rights to forward Terry Taylor, Jalen Thompson, as well as Stockton's G League first-round pick. Okay.
Sure. Terry won the championship last year, I think. Am I right? I think he was on the Stockton team last year. But
you want to guess how tall Daquan Jeffries is?
I should know this. He's been in the league for a while. Is he 6'9"?
Brother. Huh?
Daquan Jeffries?
That's a media media guide right there.
What? What's he at?
6'5".
6'5"? Okay.
It says shooting guard. This is a whole Kings lineup. Shooting guard, point guard, small forward, guard, forward. Just add him.
Yeah.
Just add him.
Monty McNair wouldn't add him though. That's too tall for Monty McNair.
Yeah, that's also true. All right, let's get to the other side. They pick up Devin Carter's option, but what does it mean? Let's discuss. Also, a possible Kings target has decided to retire. Who was that? Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacies, same old bill. But those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap GoodRx, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. The deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
In San Diego, kids are standing up against big tobacco.
We are here to discuss the urgent issue of vapes being sold near schools and other places where people gather.
I was enticed, like so many others my age, and this is exactly how the tobacco market was trying to get me to react, and I was completely unaware.
Today, over 100 California communities restrict tobacco sales near youth spaces, like schools and parks. Learn how these teens and other Californians are beating big tobacco at undo.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next-day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here, talking to you about my good friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Now, they are upgrading their offerings to you to include plumbing, bringing that same expertise and experience into the plumbing space. They're no longer just heat and air. They're now your American Energy Home Pros. And you've heard me talk about them for years as your second opinion partner. Now you can still get a second opinion on any HVAC service or replacement. But now you can also get a second opinion on any of your plumbing services. And when you really think about it, how do we know how much it's supposed to cost? At the very least, you'll know you're in the ballpark, and I can all but guarantee you they'll beat the price. They'll come out for free. They'll give you a second opinion. And all you got to do is give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Sinners and Saints is back at the venue at Thunder Valley, Saturday, October 25th.
Don't miss the Michael Jackson tribute concert, the $5,000 costume contest, and more. Don't have FOMO checking your social media, seeing your friends posted from the party.
Get your tickets now at ThunderValleyResort.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
What a day. What a day. So I'll peel back the curtain a little bit. We've been just rocking and rolling with the Russell Westbrook stuff all day long. And real quick, I'm just seeing Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine advocated for the Kings to sign Russell Westbrook. That's from Shams. That was about an hour ago. But I was here. I was in the parking lot on the phone with my little sister, and I get Kyle, who doesn't normally call me. I'm a big caller, but Kyle, you don't usually call me, so I'm in the car. I'm on the phone. We're just talking about whatever. And I see Kyle call, and I'm thinking, oh, no. And then he says, have you checked your phone, right? Or have you been on your phone or whatever? And I said, no, I'm on the phone with my little sister. And I did not know what you were about to say next. I truly did not know what you were about to say next. And then you said the words, Westbrook's done.
I said they signed Westbrook.
Yeah.
And then you were like, the Kings? I was like, yes, the Kings signed Westbrook. So
and that changed. I had to hang up with her. I said, hey, the whole show has changed. I got to call you back.
This was the second time this happened this week, too, because you were in the corn field with your daughter. And I apparently broke the news to you that Keegan had blown out his thumb. And you had to tell your wife, hey, family time's got to go on pause. Keegan Murray just injured his thumb.
Yeah, a lot of pumpkin patch. We've done 2 pumpkin patches so far. We're probably going to hit about 2 more before it's all said and done.
Is this something that your daughter, the eldest one, actually likes?
Oh, she loves it.
Okay.
It's the corn sandboxes. She's jumping in. There's corn in my shoes. The kids are throwing the corn. It's ridiculous.
Okay, at first I didn't understand what the corn sandbox was, and then I saw you post the video of it.
Literally.
I was like, okay, it's like corn kernels.
Literally.
Okay, I understood it now, but as long as she's enjoying it, because like if you're forcing yourself to go to these 4 and you're...
No, if she didn't like it, we would not be going.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't understand the point in the first place, but if she's...
got to look at then we had to go on the hayride twice. We had to go on the hayride twice.
Because she insisted? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She's like, we go again. Okay, let's go again. Meanwhile, Keegan... This news is breaking. I'm stuck on a hayride in Natomas. So thank you, Kyle, for the heads up. Real quick.
I mean, we had so much stuff to talk about today, and we had to blow up the whole show.
We blew up the whole show. The whole thing, and I had to hang up on my little sister. Hey, I got to go.
You had so many takes on baseball. And
my goodness. We just literally took today's show, and we're just going to move it to tomorrow. Thank you. Actually, thank you, Russell Westbrook. I don't have to talk about the Dodgers. That's one good thing. Okay, and it's over, by the way. I've mentally accepted that it's over and that the Dodgers are winning another World Series. After last night, I turned it off. All right, I don't even know what I turned on. I think maybe The Challenge, MTV The Challenge or something, or maybe Love and Hip Hop just to really cleanse the palate with just awful TV. I've accepted it. The Dodgers are winning the whole thing again. It's over.
Allen, ye have such little faith because you know what? The Brewers, we talked about this before. No one believed in the Brewers.
Yeah.
Like, it's cute that they beat the Cubs. Just nobody believed in the Brewers.
I wish they didn't beat the Cubs. I think the Cubs would have put up a better fight.
I disagree.
Probably not.
The Cubs also can't hit.
But nobody would.
What, Tucker and Crow Armstrong?
That's it. That's it. Give me PCA and Tucker with gloves on now.
You have such little faith, Allen, because the Dodgers are going to hit a wall. The big dumper, Jorge Polanco, the Mariners. The Mariners are our last bastion of hope.
I'm not going to waste my time.
The team that everyone in America is rooting for against the Dodgers. The Mariners are the team that is going to take down the Dodgers because otherwise baseball is screwed.
I'm not holding my breath on that one. Speaking of, and that was part of the show for today, there are a lot of owners, and they're kind of using it as an excuse, but there's a big deal happening with baseball as we're talking about some of this momentum that's been moving in baseball, and numbers are up. I have all the numbers. I'll read them off tomorrow, but all the numbers that are up for the playoffs, things that we haven't seen in 15 years, and it could all come to a screeching halt if the Dodgers win the whole thing, because I was doing a lot of reading last night because I thought we were going to talk about it on the show, but basically the idea is the Dodgers going back-to-back would be another feather in the cap to owners as to why they need a salary cap, which is something that the players do not want. So it's an excuse to root for the Dodgers to lose because the Dodgers winning is a greater chance of a lockout happening, not at the end of 2026, but at the end of 2027. So we'll dive into that more a bit tomorrow, but those are the spark notes on it. The Dodgers winning is not just bad if you're a Giants fan, but the owners using it as an excuse to say, this is why we need a salary cap. When, by the way, I will say this joke that I say for today, and I was going to save it for the World Series, but I'll probably just say it again. Who did Kike Hernandez, I know that movie Him is out, who did he make a deal with? I'm not going to say the D word, but who did he make a deal with?
The person that Patrick Mahomes is making deals with?
Like, out of all the players, you got, back in the day, obviously you had Jock Peterson, Cody Bellinger, Gavin Lux was supposed to get the keys as a second baseman. All these guys have come and gone through the Dodgers organization.
Chris Taylor twice.
Chris Taylor. But somehow, some way, Kike Hernandez hits doubles every single postseason for the Dodgers. I don't know what deal he made. And based on how expensive these dang kids are going to be, I might call him and say, hey, you got what's the number you called? Because I don't understand how Kike Hernandez does this. And how old is he? He doesn't age. He's been around forever. I don't understand it, Kyle. And on a lineup filled with Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Ohtani, it's Kike Hernandez who saves their you-know-what time and time again.
Didn't the same thing happen last year? Wasn't like Tommy Edman the NLCS MVP or something for the Dodgers? Like
Kike has been doing this for over a decade on the Dodgers.
He even did it on the Boston Red Sox one year too. Like he's just a postseason merchant. By the way, he's 34, just in case you were wondering.
Insane.
Yeah, he's just always there, man. Ultimate fan favorite. Like just everyone. Gosh, I actually I've talked about this before. For my own mental health, I've stopped hate watching the Dodgers at this point
it's futile.
Yeah, but also the Dodgers have likable players, and I can't hate Kike, man. He's so
no.
I just can't. He's so fun, and every time in the playoffs, it is infuriating when he hits those doubles.
It makes absolutely no sense. And you know what? Maybe it's because he's just so protected. And there's just no let up in that lineup. So once you get to Kike, I don't know where he's hitting, probably seventh in that lineup. Yeah, seventh or eighth. The pitcher says, finally, I can throw a normal pitch and relax a little bit. And Kike says, no, you cannot. No, you cannot. So
also the other weird one is Pajes. Like he's the 9 hitter, and yet like he should be the one you get out. They always put him on before Ohtani.
He might have the higher OPS than everyone on the Giants besides Devers, legitimately. So it's a joke. It's disgusting. It makes me sick. And I got Scott Marsh and the crew, Scott Navarro on our sales team. They're getting mad at me because I'm talking too much trash about the Dodgers. Look, man, go cry at the parade. I don't want to hear it. At least you're going to have a dang parade. I hope the Mariners come through, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm mentally preparing for more Dodger fans to pop up. And that also made me sick. River Cats games. People showing up in their Dodgers gear. They're not even playing the Oklahoma Comets or whatever the heck their name is now. They were the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Now they're the Comets, whatever it is. And they whoop the bleep out of the River Cats because they're all MLB players. They're all MLB players on that team.
Yeah.
And they show up on every game. There's people wearing Dodger stuff. It just makes me sick. So we'll talk more about the impending doom for baseball tomorrow.
Did you feel better now?
I feel much better. I needed a little Westbrook break. And what better way to use the break than to talk about the disgusting Smurfs from LA whose fans don't show up. And they got $1 billion and now they're going to ruin baseball for everyone. Now we can't play no more. They're about to ruin the bag for everyone, too. I mean, all these players are going to lose money. Bryce Harper's going to fight Rob Manfred. It's on site. You better get the bleep out of here. All because Kike Hernandez won't stop hitting doubles.
Also, I agree with the premise of, yes, if the Dodgers win, it's going to incentivize these owners. But, honestly, the players are
they don't care.
Yeah, what do you want us to do about it?
No, they don't care. I mean,
you're still going to be broke.
Yeah, Bryce is saying, dude, you're not messing up my money. I can keep stinking in the playoffs, and the Phillies can keep losing, but you're not messing up my money. I love Bryce, but have some pride, brother.
The Dodgers still have the best front office in baseball too. They're pulling Tommy Edmonds and Miguel Rojas's and Kike Hernandez's and Andy Pajes out of nowhere.
They get Andy Pajes. I'm not going to say the Giants name, but they get Andy Pajes. The Giants and other teams, they don't get Andy Pajes. That's just how it works out.
I also really like Twitter making fun of Dodger fans for talking like they're
my goodness,
what a scrappy underdog team that's coming around.
Ridiculous. I've already been started.
It's like they're making fun of their third reliever who came in instead. Oh, I saw it was Yamamoto should have gone out in the 8th inning because we need to save him. And it was funny them making fun of the lack of perspective of Dodger fans.
Real quick, want to pay off this tease. After 9 NBA seasons, the New York Knicks guard Malcolm Brogdon has decided to retire from basketball. He tells ESPN, this is from Shams, Brogdon became the 2017 Rookie of the Year, 2023 Sixth Man of the Year after being drafted number 36 in 2016. Today, I officially begin my transition out of my basketball career. I've proudly given my mind, body, and spirit to the game over the last few decades. with the many sacrifices it took to get here. I have received many rewards. I am deeply grateful to have arrived to this point on my own terms and now be able to reap the benefits of my career with my family and friends. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to all who have had a place in my journey. Shams goes on to say, Malcolm Brogdon was set to make the Knicks regular season roster, but had been contemplating retirement and informed the Knicks officials on Wednesday of his decision. I guess we'll know more, but that was a guy that a lot of people thought might end up on the Kings. So there it is. One more segment with you. Whitey Gleason is going to join us. And I don't know if it's just Whitey or his co-host. We'll tell you who it is when we return. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
The Drive Guys, weekdays 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
On Sactown Sports 1140.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents it's local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
This Sactown Sports 49ers report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. The 49ers lose in Tampa Bay on Sunday 30-19, but far worse for San Francisco. They lose their all-pro linebacker Fred Warner for the season with a devastating broken and dislocated right ankle. San Francisco comes home to take on Atlanta for Sunday Night Football. You can catch all the action beginning at 4 o'clock right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Hey man, gaining weight, dragging throughout the day, losing your drive? It could be your testosterone. The team at Revive Men's Health Sacramento gets men back on track with the energy and drive they've been missing. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations, and witness to hundreds of success stories.
I've seen guys come in worn out, discouraged, and just not themselves. A few months into treatment, they're standing taller, speaking with more confidence. It's like watching someone come back to life, like a light switch gets turned back on. When a spouse says, "Thank you, I really have my partner back, better than before," that's the moment it all clicks for me, and that's why I do what I do.
Since 2011, Revive Men's Health has helped more than 120,000 men regain their energy and drive. Start your story today with an in-clinic visit or a secure video appointment. Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000. Or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
When I was a kid, I remember my dad, a lineman, leaving in the middle of the night. Families were depending on him to get their power back on to keep them safe and warm. Watching him taught me that this work isn't just about wires and circuits. It's about people and the trust they place in us when the lights go out. That's why I started Maverick Electric Heating and Air, to carry on that same promise of showing up, doing it right, and protecting families when they need us most. Visit callamaverick.com.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. What's happening, Chad, for the Drive into Fall sales event?
Right now, you can save up to $82.50 off MSRP on one of America's favorite and most loved SUVs, the brand new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. It's the perfect combination of space, tech, and power to do whatever you need, from hauling the family around to family vacation.
Yeah, everyone I know that's had a Grand Cherokee says they love it.
It's true. There's something special about the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and now is the perfect time to check it out and save big with Hoblet. But whatever you're looking for, you can find it at Hoblet. Check out our certified pre-owned supercenter with nearly 200 vehicles available and over 50 under $20,000.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$82.50 total net savings on 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited after $47.50 factory rebates and $3,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include $2,000 select inventory bonus cash and $500 first responder bonus cash for eligible first responders. 3% savings, simple VIN, 352-391. See dealer for details.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sactown Sports.
One more segment with you. Trying to get back in a good mood.
The best segment of the day, though.
I'm talking about the Dodgers. There's one person that can put me back in a good mood, and that's Chris Watkins.
Yeah!
That's Chris Watkins.
That's right.
I see Chris got the fresh cut. Chris, your boy out here. Henry Turner was roasting me. I'm like, dude, I'm stuck at home.
Did you
go
get it
home
recently? I was like, it doesn't look bad. Oh, it doesn't look bad.
I mean, I did the Allen. I did the Allen midway. I was telling them, I get one cut a month. Look, these diapers. I got one cut a month. One cut a month.
That's great.
Okay,
I'm on an every other month cycle.
Midway. I'll do the Allen special, but even the Allen special, I'm just gonna wait. At this point, I'm just waiting for opening night.
Is Allen special just the beard?
No.
Or
I got
the
the
full
whole
lineup
thing.
and
I got
everything.
the whole thing.
That's dangerous.
It doesn't look like it.
Sure.
No. I think
you look fine right now. Whatever the most recent.
Man, I got the Giants hats. I got
Yeah.
One time, I was very early on. This maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I came out. I went in to do it, and I'm trying to, this was back in the day. The Odell was big, so I'm trying to get the sides, taper the sides. I went in. I told my then girlfriend at the time, now wife, go in. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna whip this up. I'll be back. Hour later, I come up, ball fade. I went too deep on one side.
Yeah.
And, back then, even 5 years ago, the Clippers were a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what? I got to cut this stuff,
you
man.
gotta call it at that point.
I just call the fight.
And but you continue to.
I'm decent now. It doesn't look. It looks
that
like,
might have been curtains for me.
Well, to me, when I'm done doing an Allen refresh, it looks like a week and a half after a cut. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
So it just pushes the time.
Don't you get your haircut? Isn't that 2 weeks after you get your haircut? So you save yourself
Maybe it's more like a month. I don't know. Okay. But it's kind of like the Kings. You're just pushing off the reset.
Kick the can down the line.
You're just pushing off the reset. You know what I mean?
Try the Mike Woodson, the Kings assistant coach.
Why not?
Yeah, when he was with Knicks, Mike Bibby came on our show and told us this story. Something happened where he's getting a haircut and someone wrong. He lost part of an eyebrow, so he just took both eyebrows off.
See, man,
Mike Bibby said it was the funniest thing.
Yeah, I can't do that. Maybe next time, maybe my next paternity leave, I'm just hanging out. I got nowhere to be. But speaking of pushing back the timelines, guys, maybe that's what the Kings were intending to do with this Russell Westbrook signing. Chris, I want to start with you.
Senor
Segue. That's right. That's a 4. That's a 4.5. It's a strong one.
3.
It's a 3.5.
I give it 2.
Chris, I feel like Westbrook is the one guy, because you've been on the show a decent bit. He's the one guy we haven't really talked about because it's just kind of been like hanging in the balance. Obviously, you guys are going to talk about it over the next 4 hours.
3.5.
But just 3.5, 3 minutes. Why don't you give me just your initial thoughts on the Russell Westbrook signing?
I understand the uproar that it has caused. That's definitely the main takeaway for sure. Is it's created a lot of emotions around Sacramento, and I think Russell Westbrook is one of those Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks category players where even if you're like a self-described basketball casual, you're going to have an opinion on him, and it's probably going to be, I hate that guy, he's super annoying and all that stuff. But I do think some of the reasons why people haven't liked him in the past are going to be reasons why it's the stereotypical, you hate him when he's on the other team, you love him when he's on your team. Obviously, Russ a little bit longer in the tooth. So, you're going to see probably a lot more of the head-scratching moments, a lot more of moments where it was like, he probably could have done that 8 years ago, but his body just isn't clocking what it's able to do anymore. And so I think it's going to be fun. Like, I think, and it's kind of my overall general theme with the team this year, but I just think it's going to be better than what people are acting like it's going to be right now. And now I'm not, and I've never said the Kings are going to be a 5 seed and going to be contending in the West or anything like that. But the way that fans talk about this team, it's as if like a 10 seed would be them really extending themselves and kind of hitting above their weight class. And frankly, I kind of did the exercise a couple days ago. They're a lot closer to 7 than they are to 10, in my opinion.
King's optimist right there.
That's
Rare breed.
Yeah,
A rare
that's
breed.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you got. I've been talking about Carmichael Dave because he led in.
That
and
guy needs help.
Come
That
on,
guy,
man.
even Jason Ross can't cheer that guy up.
I'm like, dude, what? I walked in. I'm like, what happened? What happened? I'm like,
Literally
what is
overnight.
It? But what?
You
what
know
do
that-
you
you know
want
that-
them to do?
I have no
What do you
idea.
want them to do besides blow it up? And we had 8,000 guests today. It's not even that easy to blow it up.
No, it's really tough.
It takes 2 to tango. So you're here now. Why don't you sell some jerseys? And when Russ is diving on the ground and all that's going on, Whitey, Dave's going to be sitting there clapping his hands, ain't he?
Yeah. I heard him, I think it was Monday, he said, there's no hope. He literally said there's no hope.
That's crazy.
I mean,
I was listening to Dave after the news broke today, and he sounded like the rep. You know that meme from the White Lotus with the Duke dad? It looked. He was like, I'm just listening to him, and I'm envisioning him like that photo.
one of my top 7 memes currently.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It
So
is.
I'm just
It
saying.
is ridiculous. It
On the
truly
other
is
hand,
ridiculous.
Allen,
Yeah.
is this roster right now setting an all-time NBA record for the most players on one team that no other team wants?
Yes. 100%,
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
You've got so many guys that
Yeah,
can you
it's
trade
the
them?
island
No,
of
no one
misfit toys. It really
Yeah,
is. Like
it
it
is.
truly is. Nobody
It is.
wants these
And that's
items.
how they will. I'm gonna go. Michael Irvin
This
here.
is how
they
we
will
win.
Rise up. They will rise up to the 8th seed.
Yeah.
I think there is a path, and you know what was fascinating, and I didn't expect Sean Cunningham to say this, but we talked about, hey, what do you think would happen if they were the 9-10? Right? I asked a lot of people that. Sean said it might not be Monty McNair, but I do think the vision would be in January, they're 9-10. I don't think I was of understanding, maybe I just created it in my mind, that 9-10, Scott Perry would say, as he's kind of done before, not as the GM, but in the front office, let's hit the reset. It ain't worth it. Sean believes that 9-10, there still is no appetite for the blow up. That kind of makes me feel differently because I did think there was going to be a timeline, and you get to January, you're 9-10, maybe 11, and you say, hey, this thing is cooked. Sean still doesn't think that's the case. And I think that might make some, I don't know. Sean's argument, and Chris, obviously you've been here, and Whitey, you've been here too. Sean's argument is there are people that are the Carmichael Daves and do want to blow it up. There's also a lot of people, maybe even more, that they were upset about the Russell Westbrook signing because they want you to maybe give up a first and go get John Collins and make this team the best thing possible to make it work. They don't want to necessarily tank.
Sean also said, I know you know because you're the one who asked him the question that led to this response, but he said, hey, it's hard to judge because you never know. This could be a precursor to something else.
Said that a couple times,
Yeah,
Whitey.
I know. You
You
alluded
caught
to
that?
him dropping the
You said
breadcrumbs.
that a couple times. This is such a beautiful time, guys. I mean, there's just so much going
much
on.
hope in the air.
But you know what? The Kings, when they do something that leads you to believe, here comes the other thing. It
Right.
never comes.
That was the Davion. We were
It
on the air
never
together.
comes.
The infamous Davion Mitchell move. Chris was
I was
flabbergasted.
beside myself.
Chris was flabbergasted. What was the next move?
There was none. It was Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels was
Jalen.
Jalen McDaniels was
bad
the
one.
move. Like that was the move. We were all like, "Oh, this is a cap clearing move and all that stuff." And nothing ever came. It's kind of similar to the Jonas Valanciunas. I guess you could say the Valanciunas move created the Schroeder move, but
here we go. Watch this.
Yeah.
But I'm
Nope, never
confused
mind.
about. Speaking of, I'm confused about the Schroeder thing because I feel like there's about 2 or 3 things they did this offseason that are part of the paying Dennis Schroeder. Jonas Valanciunas and picking up Keon's option.
Right.
Don't want to go into that luxury tax.
That all was part of the Schroeder thing.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah, and I think part of it also was to have some flexibility for this exact moment as well, so that they could have some roster and some financial flexibility for a potential Russell Westbrook signing, something that Matt George, who was in here earlier this week, like he pointed 2 months ago. He said, like, the Kings are currently positioning themselves to essentially get Schroeder to get Westbrook, and it might not be at the expense of them getting Dennis Schroeder.
Quick quiz time for you, Allen. Over the last 6 seasons, Russell Westbrook and Dennis Schroeder have played on how many different teams combined? Last 6 seasons.
6 seasons.
Yeah.
Schroeder was on 3 last year.
Yeah, so 6. Okay, so Schroeder's on 3.
This is counting the Kings?
Just last year.
No. This is not counting the Kings.
Right, so then you got the Lakers 2 with him. I'm going to say about 6 for Schroeder, and then I know Westbrook has been on about 6 since 2019. I'm going to say 14.
It's 13. Very well. Yeah.
That was really good.
Close.
Very well.
Close, but no cigar. Well, it's going to be a hot
senior
one.
segue.
There you go. Well,
Senior
a
segue
fire
strikes
is going to
again.
be lit
there you go.
on the Drive Guys with Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins, and Jay Johnson. I got this whole list I got to get to. Kyle, thank you for pivoting the way we were able to pivot with this news. I want to thank everyone who joined the show. Thank you to Brett Siegel, Anthony Slater, Brendan Nunez, Sean Cunningham, and Ryan Blackburn.
Here's Sean Cunningham.
Yeah.
Who?
What a great day for the Kings. We will see how it all pans out. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to wait. We're going to see. But you don't got to wait any longer. For Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins, and Jay Johnson, we will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, secure the bag. Like the beat. Let it be.
Don't forget about my podcast.
Don't forget my podcast.
Gotta go.
The San Francisco 49ers play on Sactown Sports 1140.
Touchdown 49ers!
Every game on your #1 sports station. Don't miss the action on your local sports leader.